racing, boys. Come on.
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys.
43 leading men, just a traffic jam away from Hollywood on Oscar night. The NASCAR nominees are Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch for Atonement, Dale Jarrett and Bill Elliott in No Country for Old Men, Michael Waltrip and Michael Clayton, and Junior for Juno. No red carpet here, just a hard, fast, unforgiving track. It's the Auto Club 500. It's NASCAR on Fox. And a quick check of the weather. It rained last night through most of the morning, but the rain has stopped. We're hoping for clear skies and to dry out the track so we can go racing 500 miles here in California. In our Hollywood Hotel trackside at the Auto Club Speedway in San Bernardino, California. It's where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR, along with champion driver and crew chief. That's Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Hammond. I'm Chris Myers. They're already teaming up against me.
I just want to know, you think you're going to get done here early enough to be able to park cars?
Over at the, real nice. So, by the way.
That snatched the rug right out from under.
I'm going to be here. I'll be here all week. All right, don't forget to tip your crew chief.
Yeah, we may be here all week, too.
Right. The tanning salon called. They found your robe, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I kid because I care. All right. So,
what are you laughing about?
Darrell.
Give me that Jimmy Johnson hairspray, will you?
We're going to talk with Ryan Newman in a moment live from down on the track, but we hope to get the track dried out. So how frustrating, or what's it like for the driver getting ready to roll here after a big finish at Daytona here? We want to get rolling.
Yeah, you come in here with a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement. Everything was cool from Daytona. One of the best I think we've ever had at Daytona, the whole 10 days down there. You come here, you're ready to try this car out on this kind of racetrack, and it's been boring. We've only had a few laps of practice. Not much has happened. The guys have been hanging around their coaches. They probably have all gotten in trouble somehow, somewhere.
All right, but the track, Jeff, they did on Friday. I guess they found some seepage. What do you call that, a weeper in the car?
The weeper, yeah.
Creepers, we got a lot of weepers.
But they cleared up the problem, so it shouldn't be a problem once we get the track dried out. Actually, it was, I guess, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson spotted it during Friday, and then they said, we'll correct the problem.
They got out there, and they were checking it out. You can see right here, they were seeing where the water was coming through the cracks. You can see right above where their hands are. That's what we call a weeper. That night, they dug the racetrack up, made repairs, and the good thing about it, we were able to run the Craftsman Truck Series race yesterday. No problems with the racetrack. Also had a practice session for the Sprint Cup cars, so everybody at least has an idea of what's going on. But Darrell talks about what the drivers are going through. Let me tell you, the crews are the ones that's been up and down because they get these cars ready to go. Everything gets kind of like geared up, and all of a sudden you can't go practice. Up and down, up and down. This yo-yo effect will really wear you out.
Rain postponed qualifying, so we go back to what it was last week. So Jimmy Johnson is on the pole for today's race here at California. On this 2-mile track, the acceptance speech in Victory Lane is 500 miles away. We're glad you're with us. It's NASCAR on Fox. The Auto Club 500 as we get ready to roll here. The second of the 36 Cup races coming off the Daytona 500. And in Hollywood, look at this from the San Diego Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman. Giving away some footballs. The honorary starter, three-time Emmy Award winner Brad Garrett from the Fox comedy Till Death will be the official. He'll have the Grand Marshal call in just a moment as the drivers are getting ready. ZZ Top played earlier. We saw a Hollywood producer walking around in his bathrobe. You never know what you're going to see here, Jeff Hammond, as the drivers do get
Marshall, the star of the TV hit show Till Death, actor Brad Garrett, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? We have lost a 2-year-old child in Kyle Busch's left ear. Gentlemen, start your engines!
All right, comedy is king in Southern California. We're not too far from Hollywood. Kyle Busch, though, did win the truck race yesterday. Maybe Brad Garrett knows something.
But ready to race. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's Auto Club 500, presented on Fox by Q Motor Oil.
What better person to talk to, Mike, than the guy that's won this race 3 times, or going for 3 in a row here. Let's see if we can talk to Matt Kenseth real quick.
Hey, Matt, it's DW.
Gotcha, Daryl.
You won this thing. You're going for 3 in a row here, buddy. And you got a great starting spot. What do you think? How's it looking out there right now?
I couldn't hear you real good, but, you know, there's a lot of unknowns going into the day. It's certainly a racetrack that I got a lot of confidence in and got a lot of confidence in my team. So, very limited practice, totally different car than we've ever ran here before, green track. So, a lot of unknowns. It was pretty treacherous yesterday. So, yeah, I'm sure Chip and the boys made some good changes here, and hopefully we'll be okay.
How about the weepers? We've been talking a lot about the water seeping up out of the track. How does it look from your perspective there?
Well, I'm just getting ready to see it. I haven't really even seen it yet. So, so far where we've been on the track here, it looks pretty good.
Keep your eye out for Gopher Cam, too. It's out there somewhere.
All right, hopefully we stay away from that.
10-4, Matt. Good luck, buddy. We'll be watching.
Matt Kenseth will start in the second row in the 4th position. Time for today's FedEx Racetracks question from Rosie in Louisiana, who wants to know how many Daytona 500 winners backed up their Daytona 500 trophy with a win in the very next race.
Well, Rosie, it's been done 3 times by 3 different drivers. Richard Petty did it in 1973. Cale Yarborough did it in 1977. And most recently, Jeff Gordon 11 years ago in 1997.
Log on to foxsports.com, keyword FedEx, and maybe we'll feature your letter as the FedEx Racetrack segment. Trip's car that he has been depositing oil on the racetrack.
My goodness, it's hard to believe. I can see it streaming out there, Larry, like it's got an oil line off or something.
Yeah, he's going to try to get to pit road. Of course, we look like we're a few laps away from going green.
Because they're going to have to clean up what he left out on the racetrack, Larry.
You can see right there, all that is a deposit of oil, grease, or rear-end grease, possibly transmission grease on the back panel underneath the rear spoiler of that 55 car.
That is serious.
And hopefully no damage to the car. Of course, these cars run a dry sump oil system with a lot of oil in it, not 5 quarts like in your passenger car. So hopefully no damage to the engine or drivetrain.
What do they have now, Larry? Is it a 3-gallon or a 5-gallon tank in these cars?
It's not quite 5 gallons, but close to it.
Michael will get a push to get back to his pit road stall. And let's take a look at how the race is made up today. This is a 2-mile super speedway out here in Southern California, so 500 miles will take 250 laps.
Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. The pit window where you want to come to pit road to get that Sunoco race fuel, 40 to 44 laps.
We asked NASCAR officials if, due to the lack of practice and the rain, they planned what we call a competition yellow for teams to come in and check tire wear early in the race, and they say they have not planned for one. They did not announce one at the drivers' meeting.
Yeah, well, you know, we had the Craftsman Truck Series race yesterday. No tire issues whatsoever yesterday, so I think that gives them... A guy named Wiggins, I guess, somewhere as he's kind of having a sleepless day.
These fans have been patient. They've shucked their rain gear, and now they're going to get rewarded. They're going to get a start. They're going to get to see the Auto Club 500.
We'll get this thing going, get that vortex working. We're going to be on it.
Great shape.
We're going to be in good shape.
Sean Merriman at the ready, and so are we. Pace car dives for pit road.
DW, I was questioning if it was going to happen today, but here we go, baby. Reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time. Let's get this West Coast party started.
All right, come on, Sean. Wave that thing.
Biggity, biggity, biggity. Let's go racing, boys.
somewhat tentative first lap for all drivers but one. Jeff Gordon speeds away from the field to lead the first lap.
Well, he was fastest guy in what little practice we had yesterday. And, buddy, he's taking advantage of starting up front. He is out of here.
Let's remember the hole he started in last week, finishing 39th. He led that lap. That's 5 bonus points.
You know, it wasn't bad enough you had to worry about the rain and the water leaking out of the track. You got all that stage right you had to worry about, too. But everybody looks like they're minding their manners. Nice start, boys.
Got a battle for second here. Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car goes underneath Matt Kenseth in the 17. I talked to Chad Knaus about this 48 car. He thinks they've got a fast car, but he's concerned about the long run.
So many of these guys, Larry, are propping these cars up and making them turn off the right rear tire. And that can get you after a while. That right rear tire heats up, that thing will get loose on you.
Fourth place battle, Tony Stewart in the 20, Clint Boyer. Behind Gordon, Johnson, and Kenseth. Oh, Matt Kenseth loses a bit of ground. Here comes the smoke.
Yeah, and of course they pass him almost at the end of the back straightaway, but the problem was Matt Kenseth in the 17 did not get off too very good at all, and you can see he's going to continue to lose spots.
Boyer, Harvick, and here comes Casey Mears in the 5.
A lot of slicing and dicing right now, boys. See that 2 car? Of course, he had to start in the back because he didn't have any points. And so he had to start in the back, and he's been coming through the field in a hurry.
That's right. Kurt Busch started 36th. Earned that spot as one of last year's winning drivers, not in the top 35 owner points.
And if you and Larry want to explain all that, y'all go right ahead.
We did twice while you folks were talking about movies downstairs.
I know while we're watching this battle here, Jeff Gordon has been like fired out of a cannon in this 24 car. We're coming to complete lap 4, and he's already built over a 2-second lead over his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Well, Larry, those lap times that he's running right now are a lot quicker than we saw in practice yesterday. They were in the 40-0s, and right now he's 39.69, his best lap.
So for Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, who has a full second on the 3rd place car, Tony Stewart, this has suddenly become a test session. But back here at 6th place, where Casey Mears is trying to put the pass on Matt Kenseth, a whole different story.
Well, Matt Kenseth at 17, he's just in a little bit of trouble right now.
Until the first caution or the first pit stop, a lot of these cars may be off a bit because of the limited amount of practice. But some of these guys back here, they'll get them a lot better before the day's over.
After about a dozen laps, there'll be a bunch of fellas saying, I want to see the caution, I just don't want to be the caution. You hear Jeff Burton feather the throttle.
Man, he is working.
And Casey Mears has been perhaps where he was in practice, up against it. The wall, that is.
Casey Kane in the 9 car.
Kane, excuse me.
He has definitely been working that high line, and the car just got loose up off of 2.
I can't even tell.
Popped the top on that baby.
This right here is a battle for the 13th position between Casey Kane in the 9, Ryan Newman in the 12, as well as Carl Edwards in that 99 car.
And, you know, one of the things that we left Daytona, all of us did, excited about this new car. The racing that we saw down there and the job it did down there. The concern we all had was when we get to this racetrack, what kind of show we're going to see today.
Here's the car I've been watching. We talked about him a lot in the pre-race. Kyle Busch in that 18 car. He started in the 22nd position. He's going to crack the top 10 before lap 8. We're coming to lap 7. He is on the move.
Yesterday in the truck race, Larry, he started 20th. On lap 8, he was running 6th. He doesn't hold back.
And he's running a line where nobody else has been. He's right down around the yellow line.
Now, is that the right line or the wrong line?
It works for him. Steve?
Mike talked to Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief on the 88 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this morning, and he said, we are set up loosest of all the Hendrick cars, but we feel like once this race gets going that we're going to be better in traffic as he closes up on Ryan Newman, and this racetrack will tighten up. The longer it goes, the better we'll be.
Yeah, Steve, normally what happens is the more rubber that gets down on the racetrack, we talked about this track being green. That means all the rubber's been washed off. But the more that you get rubber down, it tends to tighten the car up. The car wants to turn less and less, will not respond to the steering wheel.
I still chuckle when I think about Kyle Busch last week when his spotter early in the race said, "Take it easy there, 18," and he came back and said, "Negatory, not rather."
If he's the loosest of the Hendrick cars, here's what that looks like.
We saw this in practice yesterday several times off turn 2 and off turn 4 with this 88 car.
Oh, that's manageable right there. That was only one little correction. He was doing it about 3 or 4 times yesterday.
Now Jeff Gordon has broken out to a 3.7 second lead. Matt's in his pit.
Mike, possible story breaking on the 24 of Gordon. A lap ago, he came on the radio and told Steve Letarte that the water temperature has climbed just over 250.
Matt and Dick Berggren.
Matt Kenseth in the 17. Matt Kenseth in trouble. He is pitting. He said, "We've got to pit this time right now." Paper off the grill is the biggest problem. He's overheating.
And that could be what is going on with that 24 car. You can see it right there, a little bit of paper, and you can see, look at the bottom of the right side of the windshield. That's the overflow tube. So there's no question he will go a lap down here on lap 10 of the 17 car.
That's a function of that splitter design. There's a shelf there below the bumper,
Mike,
and debris can pile up there.
Yeah, that black part at the bottom there is not open. Actually, the part that's open is up under the bumper there, and that's where that paper was stuck.
Now, we were just looking at the nose of the 24 car. I didn't see any debris on there, but Darrell, what I'm seeing, they've got an awful lot of tape on the nose of that race car.
Well, they really do, and if he's running that hot out front like this with nobody around him, he's really got a problem. He's going to have to do something pretty quick.
Now, the reason they put tape on the nose is the more tape you put there, it helps the front tires bite, puts downforce in it, plus it reduces the drag on the straightaway.
Dick, what was on Matt Kenseth's car?
Well, at least this stuff, Mike, and probably a little bit more. There were a total of 3 pieces of debris, and these are 2 out of the 3. So as you can see, that would clog the radiator quite well.
The one is a paper wrapper, but the other looks like a helmet tear-off.
It's either that's a big piece. I think it's tear-offs off of the windshield, pieces of the tear-off that they put on the windshield.
When you have this much moisture in the air, that will get those tear-offs in trouble.
Big slide for Harvick there. Jeff Gordon continues to open up his lead. It's 3.8 seconds over Jimmy Johnson. We've completed 12 green flag laps with NASCAR on Fox. Toyota is in the garage. He's brought out the first caution of the day by cutting down a tire going into turn 3 and slamming the wall. Here's a look.
That is a hard lick.
Inside.
When that right front goes down like that, the car just will not turn.
Hamlin in the garage. Here's another look. Straight up and in. Now Matt Kenseth will get the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap. And as Hamlin was going into the wall, Kevin Harvick made a pit stop, which he completed despite the caution coming out.
And so, okay, that's really bad luck, right?
It's great luck.
It's going to turn out to be really good luck, because see who's leading the race when this all washes out.
Let's see how it plays out. Krista?
Well, we saw Matt Kenseth overheat. That was also the concern for teammate Carl Edwards. Comes in for 4 tires. No changes, just a small air pressure adjustment. The big concern, though, for Carl is he can't see very well. He wanted a tear-off removed. Dick.
Tony Stewart also running a bit hot in car number 20. He's got chassis problems going in and coming out. Matt.
A lot of debris Dick on the grill of 24 of leader Jeff Gordon. He said his car, the biggest issue, 3 on exit. That's what Steve Letarte is going to fix the most. Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson saying his car is decent. I'm a little bit tight in the center. They've made an air pressure adjustment out of the right rear tire, and they've raised the Panhard bar.
Boy, it was close between that 24 and that 48 car leaving pit road. Good thing is that 48 car has that in pit box, only has to move just a little bit, but pretty much 42 cars hit pit road right then. Everyone with 16 laps on their tires, they hit pit road, and as Darrell anticipated, it looks like that Kevin Harvick is going to be leading this race. We need to explain how this can happen. Yeah, he hit pit road right before Denny Hamlin hit the wall. Pit road's open under green.
Heads up by Todd Berry, the crew chief, Billy O'Day, the spotter. They knew where the leaders were. They went ahead and came down pit road at 55 miles per hour, completed a stop, and he beat off pit road. He beat the leader, which was Jeff Gordon, so he stays out now under caution, so he's leading the race.
The reason Harvick pitted in the first place is he was pushing out a lot of water, overheating, just as Matt Kenseth was.
He was close enough to the leaders, pitting under green with the caution coming out after he hit pit road. He did not go down a lap.
You can see the water, the steam coming out of the overflow right there at the base of the windshield. Apparently, they don't think it's a problem to have to come back in and put water in it. I think Kenseth did have to do that, though.
And there we're getting a report. It was a windshield tear-off that was on the grill of that 29.
Steve?
Mike, it was, in fact, a windshield tear-off, and they made sure they got everything off the grill. They wanted to make sure there was no other trash. But it's Larry Mack documented. Good break for Kevin Harvick.
And Darrell, you and I were talking at break. It seems like here at this racetrack, in its sister track, Michigan, especially when the wind's blowing into the beginning of a race, and I think it may be because the straightaway has banking. I'm not sure, but we end up with debris on these grills of these cars.
There's no grandstands in the corners. So the wind can come right across the fence down there, blow stuff right out onto the racetrack or right across the racetrack. If the grandstand went on around, we probably wouldn't have that problem.
And you saw from those flags, it's a stiff wind from west to east here as we get ready for the restart after the first caution of the day for Denny Hamlin's Toyota, cutting down a tire and hitting the wall. So the light is out on top of the safety car. It looks like we're getting ready for our Claritin Clear to Drive restart. Live Claritin Clear, indoors and out.
Just real quickly on the 11 car, there's a good chance that that car's not hurt that badly. We saw cars wreck at Daytona, minor repair, and right back in the race.
NASCAR is moving Kevin Harvick to the tail end of the line. They have judged that the caution was out when he came down pit road. Then pit road would have been closed, and that he pitted too soon before pit road was open.
It still is a break because he would have went a lap down for sure had that caution not come out. So the penalty tail end along this line as we're going back racing.
A little bit concerned, though, that they told him about it coming to get the green. Looks like he should have been called on that one before they come to get the green.
You've wondered if Jeff Gordon is still the hard charger of old. That restart should erase all doubts. He just shot past Jimmy Johnson, his teammate, and back into the lead.
You know, one of the things that I picked up on in some of the interviews we did from Denny Hamlin talking about the Toyota engine, apparently some of that valve train problems they were having at Daytona carried over to the unrestricted engine, and they've had to back way off.
Turn 2. Casey Mears, gets tagged
and nowhere
hard.
for Dale Earnhardt Jr. to go in that 88 car.
2 more cars hard in the wall behind them. One is Hornish.
Someone has run underneath the 5 car, it looks like.
The other's Reed Sorensen, and Mears ends up on his roof.
It's Sam Hornish in the 77, because I knew the car just picked up off the ground all of a sudden.
You couldn't even see Hornish from our angle.
Dale Jr. okay after running into his Hendrick Chevy teammate.
Boy, there's a fire over there, guys. Boys need to get out of those things. And I'm really worried. Here comes Casey. Good.
Sam Hornish moving around in his car. Very quick work by the Auto Club Speedway rescue officials and NASCAR officials.
What I'm worried about is this car, driver's side over here that he was pinned in underneath there.
Sam Hornish has walked away from his car.
Actually, I'm looking at it upside down.
And here comes Casey.
I saw him put the window net down.
Casey's climbing out under his own power.
But you're right, Mike. What a great job by the safety workers, how quick they got there.
That was bizarre.
It was
sitting there looking at that car, and all of a sudden it just started going up in the air and turned over.
Oops. That was about the third hit that put him over on his lid. Alan Gustafson, Casey's crew chief. The red flag is out. They will stop this race. And Casey motions everybody away so he can hop down on his own. He is okay, but watch the 5 car come into view on the upper right of your screen beneath the Auto Club sign.
It's up high, and he just loses it there. Comes down right.
Just clipped Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Got turned him around. But now this is when it really is bizarre. Watch this.
Hornish already had damage, and the hood was up so high he couldn't see out of the windshield, I don't think.
Now watch Junior in the 88 come into this. Get clipped, knocking the right side sheet metal off and banging the left side. Now all drivers involved are okay.
The cause of that crash, I don't know, but I know it was the cause of ours. Okay, Denny Hamlin in the garage.
So thanks, Dick, and that corrects what we said earlier, that he did appear to cut down a tire, and that was the analysis by his spotter, Curtis Markham, on the roof. But as Denny just said, he hit one of those seams and the car just took off on him.
Dudley out there, were you able to see the 5? What happened?
Basically, I was in the middle of 2 other cars. We were, racing 3 wide and coming off the corner, and saw the smoke up ahead of me before the spotter could even get it out of his mouth that there was somebody spinning, and there was nowhere to go either way, and the 41 car got slowed down, and I hit the back of him, and it pushed the hood up, and I couldn't see anywhere nor steer the car anymore either. So we were kind of along for the ride at that point in time, and then obviously hit the 5, and the front of the car started on fire. So not a very good day for the Mobile 1 Dodge, but we're out here trying to get as much experience as we can, moving forward, being a rookie, competitor, and obviously this doesn't help us out much, but we'll shake it off, go to Las Vegas next week and see if we can't do more.
For a similar reason, sliding in the water in turn 3 and crashing into the wall, and he is in the garage area.
There's that opening where you take air, and then on this COT down here, the new car, that is slanted. It's not actually straight up and down, and you can see the angle on it, and that's why that stuff has that. There's a cavity there, and that's why that stuff on this car particularly will get stuck on that grill a little bit more than what we've seen in the past, maybe. There's another look at it.
And Mike, you talked at the top of the day about the unknowns, and we've raced this car 17 times, including at the 500 last week at Daytona, but I think this is still unknowns for this high-speed racetrack, how you need to cool these things and the efficiency that you need.
Agreed, Larry. We talked about a lot of unknowns. The racetrack was not one of them. Today is scheduled to be an inadvertent doubleheader. The NASCAR Nationwide Series was rained out last night. That race is scheduled to be run 1 hour after the checkered flag waves on this race. So it'll be a long Sunday evening here for NASCAR and the teams and our TV crews and the fans.
This car is still a work in progress.
Yes.
When we went to the small car back in 1981, when we downsized to the Buicks and everything else, it took us 2 years before we finally got comfortable with that car.
Mike, you mentioned that we're looking at Clint Boyer right now. We have several drivers that will be doing that double duty, running 800 miles. And, as I walked through the garage area this morning, I noticed a lot of things about these cars, and so much has been done for safety of these drivers. But I know a lot of these guys, they run the LaJoie seat. Randy LaJoie, who won the Busch Series championship a couple of times. And Randy and his group, they've put as much effort into the comfort of the driver as they have the safety.
Well, that's always been the compromise. We don't just sit in this thing for an hour. We sit in these things all afternoon, 3.5, 4 hours. So a lot of the things that we used to do was a compromise. We didn't want to wear a 3-layer uniform because it was too hot. We didn't want to wear gloves. Too hot. Didn't want a full-face helmet. Too hot. So a lot of the things that we've gone to are out of necessity, and still comfort's got to be a consideration.
So rain right now, not a consideration, but the drivers are stopping along pit road as they work to try and dry the weepers up in the corners here at the Auto Club Speedway. so that that water would have a place to sink to where it could be pumped out from down at the base of turn number 3. When this race started, there was a slight seepage out onto the track, but NASCAR officials and the drivers agreed the track was good to go, and the race started. And we've taken a look, and as the race wore on through its 21 laps and 1 caution flag and the eventual red flag, the seepage became worse. Was it from the cars pounding on the asphalt, or some other reason? But the weepers became worse during the racing. So now they've cut some grooves. They're going to let the drivers go out and have a look at that. But NASCAR President Mike Helton came over here and visited and said, we're not going to restart the race until we're convinced and the drivers are convinced that it's safe to go racing.
I believe those cars going over the track, and I think it was like a pump almost, and it was just working the asphalt enough that it was pumping that water through those cracks.
Yeah, we've had so much rain here lately, and you go back to yesterday, we didn't have any issues during the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race or the little bit of practice that we got, but it rained so hard here last night, didn't quit till mid-morning. There's so much water here.
It was a hard rain last night and a light but steady rain right through 12 noon, 1 o'clock. The cleanup and the dry up.
Well, that's odd now. They just fired this car up, and it's already overheating. Larry, that almost looks like the valve that the pressure valve on that thing is stuck open, because it shouldn't be pumping water out already.
No.
Of course, setting still, you're not moving any air, possibly.
If you're just joining us or rejoining us, we are 22 laps into the Auto Club 500 on Fox. The start of the race delayed by rain, and now 2 crashes. The first one for Denny Hamlin put us under caution. The second one, triggered by Casey Mears, put us under the red flag for over 1 hour.
Say back from about 25th on back hits pit road, but interesting, Kyle Busch in the 18 coming.
Let's see what they do, Larry. He's coming down here, and
Robbie Gordon in, Bobby Labonte, J.J.
They've got an engine issue, Larry, or something's wrong going under the hood.
It looks like they may be running hot. What those lines they are going across the wall, that is automatic quick fills to put cool water back in the engine.
Matt?
Mike, right before the red flag, that was Kyle Busch's complaint that his car was running extremely hot. So like Larry Mack mentioned, the game plan is in effect here, trying to fix this 18 car.
Almost half the field chose to pit on this caution, the first time that the pits have been opened since the red flag.
Kind of interesting to me that the 44 car, Jarrett, was sitting there with water steaming up out of it. The 18 car Toyotas, these are Toyotas. If there's something maybe going on there that we're not aware of, they're taking some tape off the front of that car, looks like.
We had a shot a while ago, and if I noticed one thing about that 44 car, an awful lot of tape, like we've been noticing on a lot. Here's another Toyota, the Hall of Fame car, J.J. Yeley, 96.
I think there's a common denominator here somewhere.
Everyone on the track is on the lead lap after 24 laps completed. We do have cars, however, under repair in the garage, and cars out of the race, Casey Mears and Sam Hornish as expected, and Denny Hamlin.
Looks pretty good there now. I think those grooves they cut in the track may have done their job. That they're coming up on that area right there where the problem was, and you can see that groove they cut in the track to let that water possibly run down the hill.
There's Kyle Busch in the 18 car back on pit road. Looks like now they're just, since they knew they were going to be at the back of the field, let's go ahead and fill that thing up with Sunoco race fuel and change those 4 Goodyear tires.
So 38 cars on the lead lap for this restart, with Sorensen and Earnhardt Jr. in the garage. There's David Reagan and Ryan Newman, the winner of the Daytona 500, running an 11.
I still see a lot of trash out there, guys.
Ready to go green with our Clarendon clear to drive restart. Get Clarendon clear, get back to feeling like yourself again.
You know, Darrell, we love listening to our fans. You talked to some new fans here recently. Just remember, if you look at our crawl up here, is what we call it, that tells you exactly the position that your driver's running in.
Some of my buddies didn't realize that. They're smarter than that, too.
Pace cars in. We'll complete 25 laps this time by, and we'll go back to green in the Auto Club 500 with 225 laps to go. Green flag. Newman to the inside of David Reagan. Here comes the one of Martin Truex. And Newman's running mate in this election, Kurt Busch, in the deuce.
And just remember, because of the way the field was set, he started back in 36, and he's going to take a position away from that one car of Martin Truex Jr.
Everybody's still just holding their breath here for a lap or two and be sure everything's all right. And that's right where the 2 car is where the water was. Looks like he's going to slide through there all right. So this is looking encouraging.
Under green flag racing for the 3rd time today. As we transition to dusk and the lights will come on here in Southern California. Jeff Gordon once again breaks away from the field. He didn't call the car a hot rod during the red flag. He called it a rocket.
Oh, and it is. That thing is getting it. Sounds like a rocket when it goes by here. Man, these things sing a pretty song.
And you can tell the racetrack is getting faster. It's cooling down even more. It's gaining grip. Jeff Gordon just ran his fastest lap of this race, 39.51.
That's 182.2 miles per hour on that lap.
Tell you what, a car that just took over that 3rd position, Casey Kane, in that 9 car, he just went by Tony Stewart, which Tony Stewart in the 20 continues to lose more positions. But that 9 car, I just believe, after a great run in the Daytona 500, watching them at the Las Vegas test back in late January, I think they're about to figure some things out that's going to get them back to the form they were a couple of years ago.
Well, he got off to a good start. And, man, that makes all the difference in the world. That organization is going through some pretty big changes, too, internally.
The Gillette Evernham team, you mean?
Yes.
Yep.
Tell you what, I've been watching this battle right here with Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 car. Now, he started back in the 21st position. He had moved up in the top 10, but he just lost that position back from Kurt Busch in the 2. Look how much quicker that Kurt Busch in the 2 car picks that throttle up and stays in it. He just drives by his teammate.
Well, that's where the car's got to cut. That's what the guys complain about. Some of these cars are cutting pretty good, and some of them aren't. Some of them are just sliding the nose.
And here comes Kyle Busch, 3 wide out of turn 4, all the way down the front straightaway and into turn number 1. And here comes Michael Waltrip trying to get around him. Nope, Kyle punches the button and off he goes in that 18.
Now, we only had our restart 4 laps ago. He restarted back in 37th. He's already made his way to 23rd. So he is a man on a mission.
He likes doing this, Larry. He did it yesterday. He did it at the start of the race, and here he goes again.
4th place, Greg Biffle, taking it away from Clint Boyer.
You know, we started racing this new car at the beginning of last year at some select races. It looked like the Roush Fenway group. They were behind, but there's no question, as you can see, Carl Edwards, another Roush Fenway car in the 99. The latter part of the year, they really started getting their arms around this new car.
People have said that Carl Edwards is the guy to beat here, that he was the most consistent over the long run in testing, and he's going to have to. He's got a lot of work to do, though, to catch this guy.
Look at the nose of Jeff Gordon's car, and a bit more. That looks like plastic rather than paper.
Now, that area on the front bumper, that's really not an opening there. That's more or less a decal right there. So I'm not sure you get in a lot of trouble right there. Some people use that as opening. I'm not sure if they do, but as long as it doesn't get in that area just above the front splitter, that's what gets you in trouble.
Looks like it might be over a little bit of that side of that grill, Larry. I think you got to keep an eye on that thing because it wouldn't take much to burn that motor down.
Jeff Gordon has jumped out to a 2.3-second lead. Let's show it to you. Over his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
Up on my grill. 225, 265 oil.
Not good.
Therefore, keep watching it.
And the big thing, you know, these cars can run 235, 240 on the water temperature as long as it doesn't keep climbing. That's what will get you in trouble.
Well, I'd say that might be a problem for him, but I swear I remember him winning a race at Darlington last year. Things steamed for like 100 laps. We said there's no way he could make it. So
that's right.
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
We were all waiting for that thing to just melt down, and it never did.
No, it was a little engine it could that day.
I tell you what, that 18 car, he's getting about 3 to 4 cars a lap. He just drove by David Gilliland. He just drove by Brian Vickers. Now he's working on Scott Riggs in the 66 car and Elliott Sadler in the 19.
He's in 22nd right now, Larry, and coming. fast.
Talking about the Gillette Evernham cars, talking about Casey Kane in the 9. There's Elliott Sadler in the 19 car. Had a great run at Daytona. About all of the Gillette Evernham cars did. Ended up finishing up in the top 10. Right now, he's back in the 20th position, about 13.5 seconds behind leader Jeff Gordon.
I think he finished 6th, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good run. I'll tell you what I'm waiting to see.
A lead change?
Oh, I think that might have been planned.
Jimmy Johnson in front. Now, he's already led a couple of laps.
All right, what Jeff Gordon would love to do is to get on the rear bumper of the 48 car. It changes the pressure on the nose, and it will suck that paper off. Let's see if he can do it.
Sounds like a plan, Matt.
Look, see it flapping?
That's exactly the game plan. Steve Letarte told Jeff, just back up, let Jimmy go by. We can try to get the debris off the grill because the temperatures continue to rise. Steve?
And, Matt, as you said, Jimmy Johnson in on the game plan the whole way. Just before that move, he told crew chief Chad Knaus that his car was a little snug, but happy loose off. Dick.
Dick Berggren.
Tony Stewart has dropped back to the 12th position. Car tight in the center. You still see so much trash flying around.
I can't believe all the debris that's flying around. Unbelievable.
Well, mission accomplished for Gordon because Jimmy Johnson, with that change of air pressure with the car in front, has moved that piece of plastic debris off to the side and away from the grill opening on Gordon's car.
And one reason they could do this, they had over a 2-second lead over Casey Kane in the 9, the 3rd place car.
35 laps on the board. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon over Kane, and then the Fords of Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards. You can see that the rain that had been building over in Los Angeles about an hour ago has made its way 60 miles east to Fontana, and rain has put us under the 3rd caution flag of the day, which is about all that has prevented Jeff Gordon from running away from the field.
Well, this 24-hour race will get over, you know, in 24 hours.
But you're right. Once he got that paper off that grill, he said, Jimmy Johnson, it's time for me to go again.
Darrell, what happened to our vortex theory?
I know. It didn't work that time. I believe there's no grandstands in turns 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
And there's none in 1 and 2 down here. And so we can't get the circle going.
So the vortex of hot air does not...
Here's the pattern I've seen, though. I think it only works on the East Coast.
Oh, no, that's a good point.
There you go. There you go.
Does the vortex go backwards in California?
Yeah, that's it.
Australia.
Somewhere out here.
Toilets flush backwards and all that. Kurt Busch has reported overheating on his number 2 Dodge, and pit road will be open this time. All we can hope is that this is a brief shower and that we're very quickly able to dry the track and get back underway.
And I would anticipate we will have a lot of takers because we are still well away from the halfway point. So I would say that pit road probably could be a very busy place.
Yeah, right. It doesn't do any good to stay out right now, even if it should start raining. Other than if you want some good TV time.
Yeah, we lack 86 laps of getting to halfway, at which point this race would be official.
I'd come in and get my tires now while pit road's dry.
Reed Sorensen is back in the race. He gets the free pass. He's the only car laps down, so he'll get back one of his 10 laps for repairs in the garage. Krista?
Carl Edwards said his car is just a little bit tight in the center and now getting a little bit loose off, so they are going to make a small adjustment. They want a little more bite and 4 tires. Dick?
Greg Biffle has motored forward from 14th position to the 5th position. Car just a little bit tight. They're making minor adjustments to try to fix that. Matt?
24 is in. They're trying to clean the debris off the grill. Mike Tiny Houston, the former pro wrestler and tire carrier, he'll probably reach up right before Gordon leaves to get one last grab off that grill. Steve?
Jimmy Johnson says the back of the car is out of the track. 4 tires, they'll make a small chassis adjustment. You saw Casey Kane seconds ago. His car also loose.
Now, John Andretti did not pit, and I'm not sure Dale Jarrett made it to pit road either. I know Andretti formed up behind the pace car, and so did Jarrett. If they don't pit, John Andretti will get to lead a lap.
There's nothing can beat that in pit box because all you have to do is move a few feet, and you see it, the 48 team, they win the battle off pit road.
The Auto Club 500, powered by Q Motor Oil and the Auto Club Speedway.
Caution under green. One lap, it's 5 bonus points. Actually, John Andretti did it as everyone hit pit road in the 34 car. He got 5 points, and he pitted, and that gave the lead to this 44 UPS car.
Something we sometimes call doing the Dave Marcus, because Dave, as an independent driver owner, often took advantage of the opportunity to stay out when the rest of the cars in the lead lap pitted and pick up those 5 points. And you know what? That means points, and it means dollars at the end of the season.
And those teams, you get a feeling they may be fighting to stay in the top 35, where they definitely will be locked into the show.
Looks like we're ready for our Clareton Clear to Drive restart. Clareton Clear, indoors and out. We will restart with 38 cars on the lead lap, and Reed Sorensen, after repairs, 9 laps down.
Every car that went by, looked like, without exception, had some debris on the grill, stuck in that the cavity underneath the bumper there.
We'll complete 47 laps this time by. Green flag.
We still have 38 cars on the lead lap. Right now, Reed Sorensen is 9 laps down, back out on the racetrack in the 41 car. And we're showing Dale Earnhardt Jr., Casey Mears, Sam Hornish Jr., Denny Hamlin in the garage area. And there's a battle for the lead, not to be a battle on that 24 car. If you're going to win this race, you're going to have to beat that 24 car.
Well, here comes the guy I'm anxious to see what he can do with that 24 car. 99, we heard about how good he is. This is the best shot of getting up there and showing it.
Carl Edwards to second place. Movers and shakers. That number 18 of Kyle Busch keeps forging his way through the field. He's fighting for 16th right now, 4 wide.
That's the great thing about this 2-mile racetrack. You can run 4 wide here. He's going to get about 3 or 4 at one whack here, it looks like. He just drives that thing down in there. But the car, you know, you can see it wiggle a little bit, but it sticks, and he's able to pick that throttle up and stay in it.
He catches it with the gas. A lot of these guys catch it with the steering wheel. I think he just catches it with the gas, mats it, and straightens it up.
David Gilliland, who gained a lot of spots on pit road during that last stop, surrendering 5th place to Casey Kane.
Well, our old buddy Matt Kenseth, he's got his hands full right here in the 17 car, fighting for 21st position.
Of course, Matt had to hit pit road back on lap 10 because his car was overheating, had to come to pit road under green, went a lap down, then got the free pass when the caution came out.
Oh, it's way too early to talk about Matt Kenseth. Check back in about another 100 laps from now.
Defending and 2-time champ. Now keep an eye on the 7 of Robbie Gordon, because he likes that car loose, and boy is it. He's running in 19th place. His off-road racing shop is just down the road, about 20 minutes from California Speedway. And he held a little bit of a gathering there yesterday.
And he was going to be down at that shop if they didn't tighten that thing up a little bit. The thing is wiggling. But Robbie's another one of those guys that everybody in the garage will tell you, incredible car control. And there he is up there just sliding all over the place. Whatever adjustments he made on his last stop, I bet he'd like to undo those.
And right in the middle, that white car, Travis Kvapil, the Yates Racing Team, unsponsored here at California, and looking for a sponsor to continue this season with the 28.
Brian Vickers in that 83 car, he was all the way on the apron that time through turn 3 and 4, below the white line.
Kvapil had a pretty good run here in the Craftsman truck race yesterday, finished in top 10.
50 laps, 100 miles complete, as Martin Truex goes after Tony Stewart for 10th.
You know, I watched Stewart at Daytona in the nationwide race on Saturday. Car didn't handle too good, fell back, got him fixed up, won the race. Did the same thing in the 500, didn't handle too good, fell back, got him fixed up, was up there fighting for a win when it was over with.
And there goes that 2 car we've been talking about, Kurt Busch. He gets by David Reagan in the 6 car, and he's working now on Tony Stewart in the 20.
And here comes the green machine. Kyle Busch. Rowdy Bush, it says on his Craftsman truck that he won with yesterday.
I don't know if he's got any rowdy friends today, but he certainly is.
Yeah, less than 30 laps ago, he restarted this race back in 37th, and now he's just about to work his way. He's in the top 15, working toward the top 10.
Somebody texted me and said, DW, y'all sure did talk about Kyle Busch a lot. I said, well, you know, there's a difference of being in the show or being the show. And he was the show.
Led the most laps in the Daytona 500. But now he's got a pitched battle here as the 2 of Kurt Busch goes after Truex with Stewart right there. And Gilliland, David Reagan in the 6, and Busch on the bottom.
And I get a feeling right now that David Gilliland is paying the price. You saw how much ground he made up on that pit stop. That Cully Barraclaw, his crew chief, went with just 2 right side tires. He's definitely paying the price now for it.
I think those are the kinds of things, Larry, that you do when you have to, not when you, if you have an option, you just don't want to do that. When you have to do it, that's different.
Right, and you have to have a very good handling race car to even be able to pull it off.
Maybe late in the race, track position or whatever, it might be worth doing, but right now you go with the safest bet.
Meanwhile, back up front, Carl Edwards holding station in second place behind Jeff Gordon. Krista?
Mike, you'll like this one. Carl Edwards got on the radio and said, hey, my car is, and then the radio kind of cut out. His crew chief, Bob Osborne, said, Carl, did you say the car is good? Carl said, yeah, it's good.
Oh, good. Well, he's staying pretty close to Jeff Gordon, I can tell you that. And where I think he's going to shine, based on what people told me, was as they go along, and the longer of the run is, the closer to Jeff Gordon he's going to get, I believe.
Slow car coming off the corner. That's one of the Haas automation machines. I believe that's the 70 of Jeremy Mayfield. Down to the apron.
Yeah, Jeremy is running back to the 38th position.
No, he's got a flat right rear tire, guys. He's piece of rubber comes flying out from underneath there, and a piece of that's the crush panel up inside the wheel well. That might precipitate a caution.
No indication as of yet as Mayfield makes his way around to pit road. Let's check with, and here it is. Yellow flag. Steve?
Guys, listen to Jimmy Johnson. He said the balance on this 48 is really good. I just need to turn a little bit better. And DW, he said there's crush panels everywhere here in turn 1.
We know where they came from.
Yeah, and they're definitely crushed right now. That's pieces of aluminum you put up inside the wheel well between the body, the frame, and the body itself to keep the heat and everything out of the car. So when the tire flies apart, it just rips that right out of it.
You're going to see it be a very busy place. It depends on 2 tires or 4 tires. You know you want to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Krista, I'm sure some adjustments as well. Krista.
2 tires or 4, that was the call, what they were going to do. Carl said, maybe 2, and they said, it's a long race. Let's go for 4. Dick?
Greg Biffle called for the chassis adjustment that just been put in the car, asked about 2 or 4. Crew chief Derek Irwin decided on 4. That's what they're doing. Matt.
And Jeff Gordon's team already made a chassis adjustment, working on the balance of this race car to Steve.
Matt, the 48 and the 9 in. The 9 says he's just a little bit too loose at 3 and 4. They made a track bar adjustment. We see tires only on the 48.
I know one car that looks like they went with 2 tires. I think you'll see him right here. Robbie Gordon in the 7 car picked up 16th position, but for the most part, I think everybody went with 4. Go the safe route. 2 for Jeff Burton in the 31 car.
4th caution flag of the day. Make that of the evening here in Fontana. To restart the Auto Club 500 after a caution for debris. Jeff Burton took 2 tires. He restarted as the race leader, and off turn number 2, Jeff Gordon back to the front where he's been most of the day.
Boy, it's pretty obvious that car gets up off the corner now. I mean, he went around his teammate there off of 2, and he just went around Jeff Burton like they're sitting still.
Gordon is the all-time lap leader here. 457 going into today, but in the last 7 races, he'd only averaged leading 7 laps per race. Tonight already, he's led 45 of the 60 we've completed.
I just think Jeff Gordon has realized he's got to win races. Finishing races is good. got to win races.
But you know what I want to see, Darrell? I want to see that green 18 get up there, because I think we'll have us a race on our hand now, because Kyle Busch has now moved into the 6th position, looking now at Carl Edwards in the 99 for 5th.
But he's under fire from Greg Biffle.
Yeah, I'm not sure that car is quite that good just yet, Larry. I mean, he's driving the wheels off of it, but I think his handling package might be just a little bit shy of the other 4 in front of him.
But I believe that's about the first time he's been passed today by that 16 car, Greg Biffle. Jeff Burton lost the 2nd spot to Jimmy Johnson in the 48, definitely paying the price for those 2 tires right now, as he's also under fire from Carl Edwards in the 99, Casey Kane in the 9.
There's no substitute for Mr. Feelgoods. I can tell you. You throw those stickers on there and it'll light that race car up for a while.
And you know, Darrell, there was a time here at this racetrack, you know, we've been racing here for 11 years, that 2 tires would work because the track had plenty of grip, but it's lost grip now.
Casey Kane makes the pass on Burton as Mayfield comes to pit road. Caution is out, turn 4.
Joe Nemechek in the 78 car.
Just spun her around, looked like.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in the race. He made a lap, came around to pit road.
I had a flat.
Riding with Jr. as he comes to his pit. And let's see.
He definitely got
something happened. It just started swerving.
Right side of your screen, here comes Nemechek into
like
view.
I got a flat tire or loose wheel or something.
No, I'd say that 15 was where what the swerving started from. Man, that was, goodness gracious, how close could it be? Truex again. His left rear tire is flat right there.
It's definitely flat. The left rear is definitely soft.
But I tell you, he got awfully tight. The 15 car forced him up the hill pretty good, getting into turn 3. Too.
Yeah, and there's damage on the left rear corner of Joe's car.
See
so
what?
there may
See
have
the
been
15
contact.
down, but Joe's already loose. I see that.
Yeah, they never got together.
Yeah.
It didn't look like.
It's his left rear tires. Then
Jeff Gordon has thoroughly dominated this race. He's led 49 of the 64 laps.
And we're seeing a few cars hit pit road, but it was cars that was at the back of the field. We're actually on 1 to go now. We'll be getting green when we come back around. There's J.J. Yaley in the 96 car coming to pit road, as well as John Andretti, Dave Blaney, and Kyle Petty.
Jamie McMurray as well making a stop as we get ready to go back to green. 2 Hendrick Chevys in front of the Roush Fenway Ford of Carl Edwards. The Gillette Evernham Dodge of Casey Kane. The Childress Chevy of Jeff Burton. Greg Biffle's Ford and the Gibbs Toyota of Kyle Busch are the front 7.
I still say that if the 99, if I look at the best lap by the 99 and the 24, 99 ran a 30.509 and Jeff ran a 39.515. So lap times, best lap to best lap, they're real close.
Steve?
Mike, Casey Kane likes his car on the last pit stop. They made some adjustments. He said, hey guys, you really helped hook the rear end up. Give me a little bit more of that, and I'll get to the front.
Darkness has settled over San Bernardino County, as you see from the Goodyear blimp. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Goodyear. Track-tested technology, Goodyear innovation.
We still have 36 cars on the lead lap.
Ready for the restart. We're under green.
Let's watch this 24 car this time as he goes through 1 and 2. Darrell pointed out that's where he's been so strong, is when he gets that launch off turn 2.
Well, baby's got some giddy up off turn 2 over there. And I just want to make a point real quick. These race fans, they have been out here since earlier today, and every one of them is still here, and there's a pretty good bunch of them, too. And they're hanging right in there with us. Thank you, fans, for being patient with everything and hanging in there.
Absolutely. Jimmy Johnson, that 48, Jeff Gordon's teammate, he stayed with him. In fact, closed up a little bit off turn 2 that time.
I just believe, Larry, there's 2 or 3 cars, Jimmy, and the 99, particularly Carl Edwards. If they can make enough pit stops, get a few cautions here, adjust up a little bit, they may be able to race that 24 car.
Now, what's his speed right here getting off into turn 1?
Oh, don't make me look.
205 miles per hour, a little bit of brake. Now, off the throttle, Not even under 150, right back to 160 when he picked that throttle up wide open.
You see that all green for all that throttle? You're going to see more green because Kyle Busch is coming. He got Greg Biffle for 6th place and had to work for it.
This is what I've been waiting for, somebody to get that high line working. Because I believe when you, oh, look at that cut. That guy can do that. Man, he can move that race car around. But when you get that high line working, that's going to open up a lot of options for some other guys, I believe. And it's slowly, slowly coming in.
Matt?
No adjustments, Mike, the last time on pit road for Kyle Busch in the 18, but he is multitasking, making notes for when we come back Labor Day weekend here to Fontana. He says this racetrack is getting to be a lot like the old Darlington Raceway. Really rough. Make that note so we know how to adjust for it next time.
Well, it's 57 degrees right now, and when he come back here next time, it's probably 157 degrees if it's like it normally is out here.
Absolutely no question.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit different animal again.
These two guys are going at it, though. Kyle Busch just can't complete the pass. When you're up on the high line, you just keep the thing wound up. You keep the RPM up on the car.
Busch makes the pass. He used that drop down off the banking off turn number 4 to get the move on Biffle, and now sets his sights on Jeff Burton, the 5th place car.
Larry, those 2 tires on Burton's car didn't look too good there against those 4 brand new ones, but it's kind of leveled off now, and it will for a little while, but he'll pay the price later.
Yeah, he doesn't need a long, long green flag run, but it's like once the air pressure's caught up, then the car came to him just a little bit.
Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle both each ran their fastest lap of the race last lap when they were battling side by side. Dick?
Well, Greg Biffle has had a NASCAR all day today, Mike, but he has had problems on pit road. In the last 2 stops, he has lost 5 and 4 positions, respectively. His over-the-wall crew was brand new last week at the Daytona 500. The only man over the wall left over from last year, the catch can man.
Caution's out. Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, man, keep it up there if you can. Keep it up there if you can.
Keep it up there.
All right, get going as soon as you can. Get going as soon as you can.
There's somebody else sitting back there behind him, too. I saw another car nose into the picture.
Now, Elliott was running in the 16th position. He was racing there with David Gilliland and David
Hurt pretty
Reagan.
bad in the back end, guys.
Yeah, got a lot of damage.
Now, Robbie Gordon had gotten against the wall.
Just trying to miss the 7. I got up in the crowd.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, Robbie took 2 tires on his last stop. I didn't think that was a real good idea because that car wasn't handling all that great anyway. Let's see what happens here. There's Robbie. He just about goes around.
Now, the 19 was up high, about 10 car lengths behind Robbie Gordon.
Well, he saw Robbie get loose, thought Robbie was going to smack the fence, kind of took an evasive action, and ended up hurting himself.
Starts, we've gotten to 70 laps. 180 to go, and 55 to halfway, which would make this race official.
Yeah, this will be interesting. It's been 11 laps since they were on pit road because we didn't pit that last caution. We have 3 cautions, so we have about 8 green flag laps on our tires, but we've seen what 2 tires did after only running about 10 laps.
Yeah, 2's not the hot tip, but again, I just want to point out every car, not every car, but the majority of the cars have got something stuck on the nose of them. I saw one go by there with a whole windshield tear off stuck to it.
Who's coming? Well, just about everybody. Krista?
Only 7 laps on these tires, so they were deciding for Carl Edwards whether they're going to keep these on. No, they're going to go with 4 tires. Also, Carl says he has something on his grill. They're needing to get that off because he was overheating. Dick.
Greg Biffle also going to take just 2 tires. He, too, has debris on the grill. We'll see if the crew catches it or not on the way by. Matt.
For about the first stop today, Jeff Gordon's grill looks clean. He does have a piece of a tear-off hooked on one of the struts for the splitter. And the 18 of Kyle Busch, they do indeed go 4 tires. They were debating, Steve.
4 tires for Jimmy Johnson, Matt. He says, help me in the center. Help me turn half pound of air out of the left side tires.
Jamie McMurray and J.J. Yaley stayed out on the racetrack and did not pit.
Even in the pits, how aggressive you have to be. You got to get in your box. You got to get the work done, and you got to tear out of there. There's no relaxing at any point in time.
Remember, McMurray and Yaley pitted under that last caution. Looks like to me, Greg Biffle, which they talked about, and Kevin Harvick as well in the 29, looked like those guys elected to go with just 2 right side tires.
And, oh, look at that big piece on Jamie Mack's car.
That's a piece I saw there a minute ago. I mean, that's a whole windshield tear off.
Yeah, you can't run that way. If they've seen this, unfortunately,
Jamie, you're going to have to pit.
There you go. Larry Carter.
We'll put 4 tires. Unless you can get up behind that 88 and see if it'll come off.
There he goes. Mission
nice
accomplished.
Job. Go, Larry Carter.
Dave, get a
There's our Ford moves of the race. Jamie McMurray will be posted as the leader when they come around. Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards in the top 10.
I think that was the Ford move of the race right there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The question is, where'd it go?
Whose grill did it get on?
Somebody. There it is right there.
Now look at that asphalt. You don't see the weepers coming out of those seams like we did before. You see a couple of almost a little bit of dampness there, but nothing like before. Green to begin lap 74. How about a little California crank it up?
Out here, you got to really crank it up.
Biffle has taken off, but look at this battle for second place and third as Kyle Busch comes steaming around the outside.
He's got that outside line working, and I knew that sooner or later that would come in, and it's going to be a real help to these guys trying to pass people. Everybody's fighting for the bottom. You got nowhere to go, but once that high line comes in a little bit, man, you can sail around the outside and keep up a lot of momentum and really go.
There you see our Fox tracks. Greg Biffle in the 16 car, the leader that stayed out on the last caution, bid pitted the one before. 48 car of Jimmy Johnson back there in second right now.
Now Jeff Gordon restarted, was it 7th or 6th?
Sixth.
Only gotten one spot up to 5th place. Let's hear what Gordon had to say during the caution flag.
It's like I'm racing on a dodgeball court, man. I'm having to touch all the debris out here. Keep dodging it again. It's caught a lot of people.
And I think we've been seeing that with all of our low shots, all of the debris flying around the racetrack.
Boy, I tell you, watch that 24 car get up off a turn two. He gets a good run there. Watch him. He can stick that nose out. Now he's going to follow Kyle this time. But he really is getting a great run off of turn two. And Kyle just likes the apron. He was high while he goes as high as he can, and he goes as low as he can.
There, we're talking about fast laps. Greg Biffle, our leader in that 16 car, he just ran his fastest lap of the race, as well as Kyle Busch back there in the third spot.
I believe my compadre down in the Hollywood Hotel said to keep an eye on Biffle tonight, and I think he might be right.
He won this race back in 2005.
Gordon clears Busch for third. Gets a little tap there for his trouble.
Hello, my friend.
Nobody said you can't bump draft here.
No, it's not a bad thing.
As long as you're on the straightaway.
As long as you're going straight. Pretty sure that Kyle will fight back and give him all he wants.
Bobby Labonte, 43, right there in the mix with Stewart. And that pack, that's back about 13th place.
When I was watching Kyle, it reminds me of racing Earnhardt. used to pass Earnhardt, and then he'd wear your back. You'd say, why did I do that? Yeah. I liked it better when I was in behind him.
Not too many of these Sprint Cup drivers were in that truck race Saturday, Darrell, so maybe Kyle Busch has a little bit of an edge on the field when it comes to track time here.
Good chance.
Greg Biffle, your leader. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch.
NASCAR on Fox at our 7th caution out. This race summary brought to you by Q Motor Oil, and it's the Auto Club 500 powered by Q Motor Oil from the Auto Club Speedway, where we've had everything from wrecks to rain to seepage on the track, and so far with 7 different leaders, 13 lead changes, and an average speed. We're at a record slow pace for this race, and because of rain falling, that is what has brought out the caution. Pit road is open. Let's check in with Chris Devoda.
Carl Edwards was going to take 2 tires, but they realized the 55 of Michael Waltrip would be right ahead of them in their pit stall, so taking 2 would not be an advantage because he would be in the way. So they made the call to take 4 instead. Dick.
Greg Biffle pits out of the lead. His car has been so good, he has been whooping and hollering behind the wheel. Matty.
And Gordon's team already with the amber lenses on their goggles for better vision, making a slight track bar adjustment. Gordon says his car way too tight, stuck back in traffic, Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson says his car is just a little lazy on park throttle. He just had a windshield tear off, 4 tires, and fuel for Jimmy Johnson. Let's go back to the hotel.
All right, thank you, Steve, and those on the pit crew. And Jeff Gordon has dominated this race. We have Jimmy Johnson, who has also run well the race off pit road, and we're racing Jeff Hammond and then Larry McReynolds, Darrell, and Mike, their thoughts on this. Really, we're racing against the weather as well.
Yes, we are, Chris. I mean, and nothing really, it matters, but it doesn't matter because we're racing to the halfway point. We still got, about 42 laps to go before it is official, so track position is going to be important, but this could be, the determining factor. How you come off here could set you up for that one more, run to the halfway point, which could be the end of the race. You just never know.
Let's take another look on pit road and take a look, Jeff, at how tight things are here.
Yeah,
Jeff
everybody
Gordon.
right now racing off the pit road, and let's see Jeff Gordon come out. Here comes the 18. The 70 car, now he's had trouble earlier. There comes Clint Boyer on the inside, the 07 car. I mean, look how close everything is, and everybody realizes this is when you got to make it happen. I mean, everything is so tight.
Looks
you
like
see the rush hour traffic in L.A. What are you talking about?
That's right, on the 101 or the 405 out.
Cars, as we waved off the restart again, they're all waiting. ESPN2 is waiting to carry their race, which is supposed to follow this one by an hour. So it could be a long evening here in Fontana.
Now, this is really aggravating to the driver. When you come around and get one to go, no, we're not going. Yeah, come around and one to go, no, we're not going.
All right, Darrell, we're going to commercial, but we'll be right back with more of NASCAR on
We're
Fox.
not kidding. We're really going.
An afternoon for rain, and it comes with Jimmy Johnson leading at 87 laps. They have pulled the cars down pit road. They're going to halt them under the red flag because, as they say around the track, we have lost the racetrack. It hasn't gone anywhere, but the surface of the track is not dry enough to keep the cars out there, so the jet dryers have quickly been dispatched out around the racetrack. But Darrell, looking at that rain come down, this looks a little futile for right now.
It really does, and of course it takes a long time, and it's damp, cold, take a long time to dry this thing off. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been under caution for 3 days.
Several drivers fighting the flu, and crewmen and 3 of our pit reporters doing yeoman's work under adverse weather conditions. And just a long day for everyone.
And it's hard for a driver, it's hard for a team to get into a flow. You can't have any strategy. You don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, this has been a real night.
Welcome back to Auto Club Speedway of Southern California, where the Auto Club 500 is set to resume under sunny skies and on a hopefully dry racetrack. on Fox welcomes you back to, yes, sunny Southern California for the continuation of the Auto Club 500. Presented on Fox by Q Motor Oil. We raced and it rained yesterday long into night. Got the green flag. Denny Hamlin crashed. Casey Mears slid in some of the weepers up into the turn 2 wall, took out his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr., and then got collected by an already crashed Sam Hornish. Mears' car went up and over. Hornish has caught fire. Everybody climbed out okay. Retired from the event. Speedway did some remedial work on the weepers in turns 3 and 4. Jimmy Johnson had a look at it, pronounced it okay. We went back to racing, and then the rains really came. After 2 red flags, NASCAR finally pulled the plug. It has not rained since. And here is how we will line up for the restart with 87 laps complete, 163 to go. It was, for NASCAR and these teams, a red flag condition. And when the garage opened this morning bright and early, only limited things were allowed to be done.
Yeah, again, you have to treat it like you cannot work on your car during red flag. But because these cars sat through so much last night, what they allowed them to do this morning, adjust the air pressure, reprime the oiling system, and because it was so damp and all the tape on these noses had got so much weather on them and rain on them, they let them retape the noses of these cars. Now, pit road was open that time. We had about 7 cars that hit pit road. I didn't expect to see the leaders because we pitted only about 4 or 5 laps before this red flag last night.
Well, the thing I'm noticing is just like on the 96 car here, a lot of teams are going under the hood, and you know what that tells me? They're making adjustments. They found out something from a teammate or from somebody in the garage that maybe there's something they could do to help their car.
One other thing was allowed to be changed, and that's the batteries for our onboard cameras, which during the red flags last night could not have been changed. So after a lap around under caution, Jimmy Johnson, who will take the green flag today from the point. Let's see what Jimmy had to say.
Yeah, it looks a lot like it did last night. A little bit better, but still there.
Well, he's talking about the weepers of
not good news.
3 and 4.
Yeah, not good news.
We had heavy rains here throughout the weekend and a light persistent rain Sunday morning. So the groundwater level of water in the ground has really got to be quite high for this area of Southern California, and some of that is from the dirt under the banking is weeping out through the seams in the asphalt onto the track.
But I think the good news is the sun's shining, and that's going to help, you know, not only can you see them better, but it's going to help dry them up, too.
The Goodyear blimp is back with us again today from its base in nearby Carson, California. They provide our aerial coverage for track-tested technology. Get there on Goodyear Innovation. There you see the seams in the asphalt. You can only lay a course of asphalt so wide with existing technology, so you have to seam it, and those seams give the opportunity for groundwater to occasionally seep through.
Looks pretty good to me compared to what we were seeing last night. I don't see any wet spots.
Looks much better, and we have a green flag. Jimmy Johnson brings them down for the restart, completing lap 89.
That's Travis Quapple in the 28 car, the white car right behind Jimmy Johnson. Now, on that pit stop they made at lap 83 last night, they elected Todd Parrott to change just right side tires to try to get the track position, but he's already working on the rear bumper of that 48 car of Johnson.
Well, we talked about Todd being a gambler, Larry, and that's the kind of gamble you'd make if you expected the race to go to halfway and be over. But now, that's going to be a hard strategy to pay off.
If you've got a good driving race car, we saw it work out last night. If your car is not balanced properly, if it's loose or if it's tight, that's where 2 tires will really bite you.
Yeah, it works pretty good for a short run, but it'll get him in the end, I think.
Craig Biffle about to surrender 4th to Jeff Gordon, who has led 57 laps. That's 4 times as many as anybody else in this race.
That 24 car is amazing to me. Watch that thing accelerate up off. Look at him put the gap between the 16 and him off of turn 2. That's where that car is so dominant. From the center of 1 and 2, off that corner and down the back, that thing really moves.
11th place. Kurt Busch, runner-up in the Daytona 500. David Rudiman has had a very strong run in the 00 so far. And here comes last year's winner, Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, David runs well here. Had a horrendous crash here last year. But I talked to him about it, and he said, you know, I really don't ever think about it.
Now watching Kyle Busch in that green 18 car, he just goes by Travis Kvapil for second. It was back on lap 18, roughly, or lap 20, that he was all the way back in the 37th position. They had to pit because they had debris across the grill opening, and he immediately started working his way to the front.
Matt Yoakum.
And talking to Kyle Busch on the grid, Mike, he told me the biggest thing that stood out about his car, it was really good, but just how strong the 24, who is going to be filling up his mirror, and that 48, who he's looking at through his windshield, just how tough they are.
Well, one thing, Matt, that we've seen time and time again with that 24 car, if he can stay out front, he's really, really fast. He gets hung up back in traffic. Sometimes that's his Achilles heel, and it really affects that car for whatever reason.
Well, he's in clean air right now, Darrell, and he lacks just 2 positions of being out front once again. His teammate Jimmie Johnson and Kyle Busch.
I'll tell you a car that we talked to him last night, one of the interviews, right behind this group right here, Martin Truex Jr. in that one car. He seemed like he was pretty happy with his car last night, and he's continuing his march to the top 5.
Another guy I think you'll hear a lot out of before this day's over with is that 20 car, Tony Stewart. He's back here, and he's 15th right now, Larry, but I've watched these guys work the last few weeks in some of the races down at Daytona. Seem like they have really got a good handle on how to make this car come on good later on in the day. Like they got a good long run set up, maybe not so hot on the short run, but it really seems to pick up later in the day.
Talking about short runs, long runs, you know a guy that was happy with his race car on long runs in the short practice we got on Saturday, Mark Martin in that 8 car. This is Mark Martin's 700th career Sprint Cup start today.
And there's not a lot of grip out there on that racetrack right now. This is like kind of a sandy surface almost. These cars are going to slide around a lot, and they're also going to grind off those tires in a real fast here today too.
Because all the rubber was washed off with all the rain we had.
And we saw last night all the debris that the track has. You know, the sand, the dirt, and the paper that was flying around. So this place has gotten a lot like some of the guys say like Darlington.
Yesterday, Jeff Gordon took off from the field. Today in the early going, Jimmie Johnson has opened up a 2-second lead. Steve?
Mike, early in, Jimmie Johnson saying my car is great down in turns 1 and 2, but in 3 and 4, a little bit tight, having trouble rolling through the center. Matt?
Jeff Gordon told me the biggest lesson learned last night when they were held up on pit road and lost a lot of track condition. Fresh air is your biggest friend. He said getting stuck back in traffic, his car went way to the tight side, and track condition is going to be key in their pit strategy thinking today.
But, Matt, that's exactly what Darrell was talking about. We've seen this even with the O car in the 24 car. He's great out front, but when he loses that downforce on the nose, talking about being out of clean air, just can't go.
Doesn't seem that way. This 7 car, I've been watching him, Larry. He's in a race here with David Rudiman. He's been moving up pretty well, too. He's been making some dicey high-line moves, and it's been paying off for him. He got by about 3 or 4 cars. He and Rudiman got a little deal going here.
Robbie is from Orange County. Orange, California, to be exact. And he likes that car loose. It's his home track, and a lot of family and friends here to watch him race. And he's starting this race in a bind. Docked 100 points and $100,000 by NASCAR for an unapproved nose, but as it turned out, the nose that he was supplied had the same part number as the approved nose. And since they were new to Dodge, they didn't know any differently, so that story will continue.
He may be starting in a bind, but I guarantee he's starting with a lot of
Casey Kane against Jeff Gordon, who yesterday was the strongest car here.
Now, see, that's a car that I think, Larry, that we haven't really mentioned a whole lot, but you got to remember, so this cat won here not too long ago. He knows this racetrack pretty well, and I got to tell you, I've been impressed with the turnaround at Abraham's deal. I think they've got that. I think they got their act together.
How about engine number 9, Steve?
Well, Mike, Casey says his car's starting to get just a little bit too loose coming off the corners. Otherwise, he likes it.
And honestly, talking to Ray Evernham and talking to Kenny Francis, the team director for this team, I don't know that it's because of this new car. I think, and Ray told me this, The generation of tire that Goodyear raced most of the year last year, Casey Kane just did not like the feel of it. He couldn't feel the left side of the race car. This new generation of tire, they've softened, put more grip in the left side tires. They've made it more forgiving, and I think he likes the feel, and I definitely think they're going to get back to the form they were in.
8th place battle here. That's Jeff Burton trying to hold off Quaffle and Kurt Busch.
Quaffle's hanging in there, boys, on those 2 tires right now.
Mainly under throttle.
Meanwhile, Greg Biffle has been dropping back. He's fallen to 7th place. Dick, what's up with the Biff?
Well, the Biff restarted 4th, Mike, and as good as that race car was last night, it's not so good today. He has complained that he simply has no right rear grip. Biffle going backwards.
And that's the difference in last night. Man, last night he was hooping and hollering, and it's the best car he's had since he won here. And here, what a difference a day makes. Last night was cloudy, overcast, cool. They got a little sun on the track. Makes a huge difference in the setup.
Fastest lap of this race so far belongs to Carl Edwards by a nanosecond or 6 over Jeff Gordon. Here is Carl racing in 6th place. He is the highest Ford in the race right now.
Nothing at all in your mirror, just shooing that one to stay focused here. Everything was good.
I think that's a big thing to tell every driver right now. You know, get your focus back. Tell us what the car's doing. The track's going to be different. It's a new day. You got to have some more feedback here to stay focused.
But, Darrell, I think that's great information with him. You can see he's definitely very busy in that 99 car. That way, if he knows he's not being challenged by anyone out the back, it's such a line-sensitive racetrack, you can work on hitting your marks and hitting your line.
Well, when you don't have to worry about competition, when you're just concentrating on your car, then that's what you focus on. You got people all around you. You don't have time to think about what's wrong with your car. Krista, what's going on?
Larry BW, you guys hit the nail on the head. Carl Edwards is dissecting the lines, the grooves where the other cars are running. His spotter, Jason Gillespie, is telling him exactly where to be in each corner, with where, like the 48, the 18, wherever they're going, that's where he's going. Carl Edwards very focused on the lines and hitting his mark.
Just right now, that high line that we just saw him run through 3 and 4, you just keep the car wound up there, and you could see him complete the pass on Truex in the 1.
The high line is a sunny day line. That's when it gets hot, when it gets slick, that's where you head, right to the top.
Robbie Gordon just passed Tony Stewart, and that's for 12th place.
I tell you, I've been watching Robbie. He's got a good race car right now.
He's come from 23rd since they dropped the green flag this morning.
All the Sprint Cup teams tested out here in January. When he did the test, it was a Ford with Roush Yates engines in it. He made the swap right before Daytona. This is a Dodge now with Gillette Evernham engines in it, and I just think the whole package of his affiliation is paying off.
Well, he had a great run at Daytona. If he could just get that penalty thing resolved with NASCAR, where they got to do what they got to do, and it doesn't hurt Robbie too badly, then I think he's on the way to a good start of a great year here. Single car team, he doesn't need big penalties.
Well, he and Kyle Petty are the 2 remaining owner drivers in NASCAR.
He's basically the single car owner driver.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the car rally got canceled. Had a huge investment in that. And he goes to Daytona, makes his switch, goes to Daytona, gets some momentum going, and then gets smacked with that big penalty.
I'm not sure when the appeal will be heard, but there's a lot of folks pulling for Robbie Gordon. On the other hand, the NASCAR rulebook is pretty concrete. They didn't have many options in handing down the Gordon penalty, so we'll see how it shakes out. We'll let you know. Casey Kane, Kyle Busch are going to battle here for 2nd place. They are running 1.8 seconds behind race leader Jimmy Johnson. And here's Tony Stewart going back after Robbie Gordon. They traded 12th place about 4 laps ago, and now Stewart's going to take it back. Let's pick up on that 2nd place battle. Here's Matt.
And Mike, about 6 laps ago, Kyle Busch went from closing in on Jimmy Johnson to a slight bounce off the wall, a Darlington stripe, if you will. And now he says you need to do a little tug on that right front fender because I bounced off the wall. Now the car has gone to the tight side. It's getting worse and worse, Steve.
Matt, Casey Kane still saying his car is just a little bit loose. They're going to stop. Stay free. They'll stop shortly. He says they're going to put a round Kenny Francis a round of wedge in and add a little air to that right rear tire.
And definitely this is the longest run in this race we've run since we dropped the green flag yesterday afternoon. And we are definitely getting within about a 10 to 12 lap window. They can go about 40 to 44 laps on fuel of making green flag pit stops. But I think one reason we're seeing some different handling in the car, most of the race yesterday afternoon, last night, the track temperature was in the 50s. It's already over 80 degrees, and the track just loses grip when it comes up.
It's dirty, too. I see these guys run the high line, and every now and then somebody will get way, way up there, and you'll see the dust fly.
Jimmy Johnson with a breakaway lead of 2.4 seconds. And varied fortunes on the Childress cars. Jeff Burton is up to 7th from 11th. However, Clint Boyer restarted 8th, and he has fallen to 19th, Matt.
One of the fastest cars last night here in California. Now, Boyer says his car is almost like driving at Lakeside Speedway, his home dirt track. He says just way too loose, especially on exit. Keep in mind, he was one of those teams that took 2 tires on that last pit stop last night.
The other Childress car, Kevin Harvick, runs in 15th.
I've been watching this cat right here, and he's been picking them up and laying them down. Just a couple laps ago, he went by Martin Truex Jr., but he'll probably find me wrong here, but watch the line he runs here. He goes in, and he gets all the way up against the wall. Now, he's about a lane off this lap, but I've watched him the last 2 or 3 laps. He's pretty much been rim riding all the way around the racetrack as we ride Jeff Burton in a 31 car.
I think you look at most guys there, they've all moved to the top for the most part. They're really fast cars, and they're going to be right up against that safer barrier here, everybody, for long.
Burton's last lap was 7th quickest of all drivers. 6th quickest on that last lap was the number 1 of Martin Truex. Steve.
Mike, as you guys have mentioned, this is the longest green flag run of the race. Martin Truex Jr., who was good early, says, now I'm starting to get really loose off. I feel like I'm burning the right rear tire off.
8 laps to halfway. Make that 7 as Jimmy Johnson leads Casey Kane now by 2.4 seconds. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, and more. Matt?
Service already complete on the Daytona 500 winner Dodge. Chassis adjustments across the back. He said his car was loose everywhere, just could not get in the gas. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is in. His car, like we mentioned, way on the tight side. Brad Donahue makes a nice little tug on that right front fender, Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson says his car has gotten snappy loose off turn 2 and a little snug in the center. They made a chassis adjustment to the left rear.
Martin Truex was in. Clint Boyer in the pit lane along with John Andretti, and Casey Kane gives up the lead to make his stop.
Mike, I mentioned this yesterday, and one of the things that guys are doing with this race car is they're jacking the right, putting a great big heavy spring in the right rear. Well, we got a collision on pit road.
Yeah,
down
David
here.
Reagan in the 6 just about got together with Joe Nemechek in the 78 car. They were side by side. You cannot go side by side down pit road per the NASCAR rules, Steve.
And Larry, Casey Kane in. He wants an air pressure adjustment. They're going to take a 1/4 pound in the right rear and add some wedge, Matt.
Jeff Burton said his car was tight in the middle, initial throttle. He just had to wait on it. Scott Miller will try to fix that car with air pressure.
And problems for Kurt Busch.
He could be out of gas because we run 40 laps, and remember they had to warm these things up this morning too. I believe he's out of gas.
I do too.
Coming around turn 4, he will make it to pit road, so we should be able to stay green.
You had to guess, Jesse. Am I below pit road speed?
Yeah, you're okay.
See, that without the motor running, he can't see the tachometer, and that's how he judges his pit road speed.
I think he's okay.
Gas in there.
He looks like he's going actually a little bit slower than the speed, so that's good.
So he'll lose a lap as Carl Edwards, the new leader, now comes to pit road in Krista.
Carl Edwards stayed out to get his 5 points. Then he had to stay out another lap because the 2 had run out of gas on the backstretch. He comes in, they need to make just a small left rear adjustment. They're going for a small amount of fight. Carl says his car is just free everywhere, but he's really concerned with it being free off the corner.
And Kurt Busch was able to get his engine refired without incident and without further delay.
Now, Kurt Busch's teammate, the 12th car, Ryan Newman, pitted 3 laps before this. You know, you just wonder if Roy McCauley was trying to play a little bit safe, or was the 12 right there on the fuel window? Obviously, the 2 car was outside the fuel window.
If you're going to run out, it actually didn't. It hurt him, but it didn't hurt him as badly as it could have. He was able to coast to his pit, get some gas, and get going. So he may be a lap down, but he should probably be in a position to get the free pass.
Scott Riggs may have led that last lap as he comes in, and let's go to Blaney's pit and Dick.
Well, Dave Blaney's crew has really struggled with this race car, Mike, since they have gotten here. And this morning they threw just about everything they could think of into the car on the very first round of pit stops. Blaney needs a good finish today. He failed to finish the Daytona 500. He is one of those guys that always seems to have his eye on keeping the car in the top 35 in owner points, so he is assured of a starting position.
Right now, Dick, Blaney slots 33rd in owner points at this moment, so good observation. We are past halfway in the Auto Club 500, powered by Q Motor Oil on Fox. Jimmy Johnson, once again, the leader. And the Lowe's Chevrolet leads the field now by nearly 5 seconds. Back to Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, and Carl Edwards.
Good pit work, and that stretched the lead out a little bit, and then Kyle had a little bit longer pit stop, probably working on that right front fender. Looks to me like Jeff Gordon's car really runs good on new tires, but it fades a little bit near the end of a long run, so Jimmy's sitting out there on cruise right now.
There's the second place car. So.
Let's update you on Kurt Busch, the 2 car. He did indeed go a lap down. Right now he's back in the 26th position, and he's about 3.5 seconds behind leader Jimmy Johnson. But Darrell and I were just discussing during the break the problem he's faced with right now. Right now, his fighting battle is try to be the first car a lap down should the caution come out. And right now, in this long green run, the leader keeps lapping other cars, so he's got to try to get up there and get with Jimmy Johnson to be that first car, because right now, Bill Elliott is in front of him with Elliott Sadler in the 19 on the verge of going a lap down.
And he's about to pass Elliott, but again, Sadler could be the first car in line for the free pass. How about Kurt Busch, Krista?
Well, for the folks at home, Mike, just to explain, the reason he stayed out, they were obviously trying to get those all-important 5 bonus points. He was trying to lead a lap. The 99 was able to do it. They had the better fuel mileage, though. No problems for the 99 to stay out that long. The 2 running out of gas on the backstretch.
So Busch has not led a lap today, nor had Scott Riggs. I thought in the cycling through of pit stops he led a lap, but actually it was Carl Edwards who led that lap. So we've had 19 lead changes among 10 different leaders.
And right now, the 2 car is racing harder than anybody on the racetrack. Not only trying to keep up with the leader, but be the first car a lap down, because that's very, very critical to that team if they're going to get that lap back.
Matt.
Mike, a different day for Jeff Gordon. It seems like a different race car. What was a rocket ship Sunday night now is a race car that is getting looser and looser with each lap he completes. He said after the adjustments, the car is now looser than it was before.
He's in 3rd place.
Got a car in the wall. Well, it's I think it's a 31, isn't it?
I believe it is. Jeff Burton.
Looked like he was up against the fence down there in the turns 3 and 4.
The steering wheel is off, maybe it's off a little bit.
You can see, Darrell, he buffed the letters off the tires. Didn't appear to do any damage to the sheet metal, but as you heard Burton say, it has changed the alignment on that car.
He's been running in high, just like you see here. Now watch the dust start to fly. It's real dirty right up next to it. See all that dirt? And he got up there and got a little bit loose, kissed the wall. I don't think with this car it's going to do that much damage to it.
Let's ride along with Jeff Burton. When you don't see the yellow letters on the sides of those Goodyears, something bad has happened.
The body of this car sticks out, a little further. The splitter and the right front fender and all sticks out a little further. So the tires.
Make sure we get everything away on the body.
What's behind the right rear?
It's just a brace to hold the sheet metal
quarter panel. But I tell you, we've talked about it so much. This car just seems so durable. As long as you don't hit that right front of that right rear, you can get the body out pretty easily, because remember, it has that Dow foam all the way down almost between the rear tire and the front tire, all in the body side.
got plenty of time. Now just get everything good.
Burton will get his repairs, and the free pass. Kurt Busch was trying to get up there and get it, but Jimmy Johnson had just lapped Elliott Sadler, so that moves Sadler back onto the lead lap with the free pass. There's his number 19.
That's what Kurt was fighting, trying to stay in contact with the leader, so that didn't happen, but he didn't quite make it.
But this caution should help him because we know he's probably the fastest of the cars that's a lap down, so this should group everyone up. We know everyone will be to pit road because right now they're almost treating this track like Darlington. You get a caution, you come get 4 tires.
Well, you can look at it, Larry. Look how white it is. When a track's white like that, that means there's no rubber in it. You see some building down in the bottom down there and a little up toward the top, but the track just has no rubber in it, no grip.
135 complete, 115 laps to go. Pit road is open. Krista.
Well, Carl Edwards is very happy with his car. He said he does not need any adjustments, and you're right, they're just going for those 4 tires. Dick.
His car was loose last night. It is loose today in the sunshine as well. They have made multiple adjustments trying to tighten it up. They are getting better. The car is getting closer to the way Kenseth wants it. To Matt.
Kyle Busch says his car is getting better. They're still going to try to tweak it one more time. Jeff Gordon says his car needs a big adjustment. Steve Letarte said, I was trying not to hurt your center, but we didn't fix the exit. Jeff says, I'll take care of that myself, Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson says his car's a little edgy, a little on the free side. Small air pressure adjustment. They also made a Panhard bar adjustment.
It's our DirecTV race off pit road. Kyle Busch will get out first. We're under caution in Fontana. Green flag to restart at lap 138. 112 to go here in California. This weekend we move on to Las Vegas to the 1.5 miles with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on Fox. Now Kyle Busch beat Jimmy Johnson off pit road. He's the lead car on the restart. He's in clean air. He's away and gone.
And Mike, we got a report from all of our pit reporters. Tire wear looks excellent on all the cars, a couple of exceptions. Folks at home, if you want to know tire wear in this racetrack right now, just take a brand new piece of 80 grit sandpaper, get you an eraser and rub across that new piece of sandpaper, and that's what the tires have gone through in this first bit of the race. But as that paper wears, that eraser will last a little bit longer, and that's what we're getting into.
Now, we're pretty much sure everyone changed 4 tires. One car that did go with 2 tires, you see Brian Vickers right there. That group did go with just 2 right-side tires.
Puts him on the list of our Toyota top performers, led by Kyle Busch, whose Joe Gibbs Toyota is in front of the field.
I'll tell you one thing, these guys aren't shy on the restarts. They go everywhere. I just saw somebody in 3 and 4 down there all the way down on below the white line. And remember, folks at home, there's no out of bounds here. The grass, I guess, would be the most would be the out of bounds marker here, but the white line doesn't mean anything. Unlike Daytona and Talladega, where we just came from Daytona.
Well, in a restart like this with fresh tires, Darrell, chances are you're not fighting the car, so get up there and get what you can get.
That's right. You feel like Superman right now. Your car will go, go, go.
Jimmy Johnson starting to fill up the rearview mirror of Kyle Busch for the lead.
But I tell you what, Kyle Busch just ran the fastest lap that he's run in this race right there at a 39.98 on lap 140 with 110 laps to go.
How about the car that's chasing him, Steve?
Mike, Jimmy Johnson, they had a little bit of a slow pit stop, but I heard Chad Canals on the radio say as Jimmy exited, better safe than sorry, guys. They had a loose nut. Want to make sure the loose lug nuts were all tight.
Thanks, Steve. 2 of the Hendrick cars running up front. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, who finished 1-2 in last year's championship. The other 2 Hendrick Chevrolets have had a tough 24 hours of Fontana. That's Casey Mears sliding through water, getting loose, going around, and collecting his new teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. Mears' car is done, especially after this assist from Sam Hornish. Everybody got out okay. But Dale Jr.'s team, during the red flag, got to make all the patch panels and repair pieces, and when they put the field back under caution, got them on there in reasonably good time. Nonetheless, Jr. is soldiering around this racetrack, 41 laps down, Steve.
Mike, this is a bit of a test session for the 88 car. Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief, said when they were here for preseason testing, they experimented a lot because he said, heck, we have the notes from the 48, the 24, and the rest of my teammates. Now, that's exactly what they're doing, just getting seat time in. The problem Junior has right now, Mike, is his headrest is coming down and resting on his shoulder, on his right shoulder. He says it's aggravating.
That apron is aggravating him right now. He got those left side tires down below the white line. He had his hands full coming off the curb.
Well, there's just this group of cars right here, Larry, that are just all over each other. They've been 4 wide, down on the apron. This little crowd right here looks to me like they're trying to see who can outbraid each other, especially when they head off in the corner.
And worse, Darrell, I mean, he's got to run another 107 laps, and his only chance of improving his position is if somebody else falls out of the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy with the guy we was talking about with the bad attitude. Why have I got to get back out here in this thing after it's been wrecked? But you can see he's racing. He's not just riding.
Right. Now, let me correct. He needs to run another 66 laps, because after that, he cannot improve his position at all. And he's 41 laps down.
This just adds more aggravation to it because the car is running pretty good.
Yeah.
And now you say, well, if we hadn't a wreck.
Right.
So now you got to deal with that.
But you know, and I know, Darrell, drivers sometimes have different thinking structure than crew chiefs. But one thing that I always prided myself in was having that race car running at the end of the race when the checker flag came out. You never gave up on it.
Well, there's a lesson learned here too, Larry. That car was wrecked big time. They fixed it. He's back in the race. And that's what you want your team. You never want your team to say, we can't fix it, let's go home. He got it fixed, he's in the race, and he's passing cars.
Yes, sir.
Plus, that gives the driver a lot of confidence too, Larry. When the team says, we got it right, we got it fixed, now get back out there, you feel like you can go back out there and not jeopardize yourself at all.
Jamie McMurray and Robbie Gordon. I'm laughing because in my left ear, our director, Artie Kempner, is calling this a spirited battle between the Crown Royal and Jim Beam car.
I think they're kind of like Gopher Kim. It's a feisty battle.
Artie and Chris Myers will be at the Chuckle Hut in Hermosa Beach until we leave for Vegas. 2 shows a night, no cover, no minimum.
I have 2 words for you, Mike. Rick Allen.
Kyle Busch now leads by 1.1 seconds, trying to score Toyota's first victory at what is Toyota's home track. They are nearby. Their U.S. operations are located nearby.
And he's trying to do something that no one has ever done in NASCAR. I know it's early. It's very early. This is only week 2. But he won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race on Saturday. He's leading those points. He's going to run a 300-mile nationwide series a little bit later on this afternoon. He could leave here leading those points. And again, right now, as the points are now, we've still got 103 laps to go. He's actually leading the Sprint Cup Series points right now.
Well, somebody, said, boy, y'all guys have got a love affair with Kyle Busch. I said, look, you can either be in the show or you can be the show. And right now, he is the show.
I know I've got a love affair with him. I'd love to work on his race car. I'm telling you, he is the man.
Waltrip has crashed in turn 2, and that puts us under caution for the 9th time in this race and the 2nd time today. His bad luck is Kurt Busch's good luck. Busch will be back on the lead lap with the free pass. We'll look at Waltrip's wreck in a minute. First, pit stops and Krista.
Carl Edwards just got on the radio and told his crew, come on, guys, put us out front. We can do this. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment for Carl in the 99. Dick?
He just won the spring race here in California last year and the year before. But today the car has been loose all day. He wants to tighten it up on this stop, Matt.
First of a doubleheader for Kyle Busch. His car, great. He says, doesn't want any changes. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon needs more of the track bar change they made in the last stop. Still loose, but better, Steve.
Matt chassis adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. He said his car was too loose, particularly on throttle, 4 tires. They added some air in the left rear tire.
Well, it looks like Roy McCauley, winner from the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman. He reached down in the barrel with only 13 laps on the tires and got 2 right side tires to win the battle off pit road.
I love the race off pit road, though. It sounds like an NHRA race. Man, they're all just $9 grand and tearing out of there.
Now let's have a look at what happened to Michael Waltrip to put us under caution.
Like
Watch
he just
55
gets,
way up there.
He likes to rim ride, and you can see the dust just a-flying. He just got up too high, locks it down. He makes contact with the rear of the car. Good job. See how he turned the wheels to the left? That kept the car from diving back into the wall.
But, Darrell, they pretty much have been in trouble since the drop of the green flag. You see the look here, he just loses it up high. He said last night when we listened to him, the car's driving me. I'm not even driving the race car.
And they made an adjustment when we went back to green, and I didn't like that, because you usually can't fix something like whatever they were trying to fix, not during the race.
Got one below here. Clear. Keep it gassed up there. Keep it gassed up. Caution's out.
Good job. 10 or 12 ever since he made that move with 2 right side tires last night before the red flag. But they've got some damage or something going on at the front end of the race car. Almost, I think they're almost possibly maybe running hot, Darrell. It almost looks like they're trying to do something up there in the nose of the car.
They're opening it up there, looks like. Maybe they've got some work they got to do. They got to drill, and looks like they're trying to move the screen or something.
Getting ready for the restart. I was hoping Wayne Knight would show up to be an honorary crewman for Ryan this week. He's the actor who played Newman on the Seinfeld show.
You started something there.
Yeah. I asked Ryan, I said, aren't you getting tired of saying hello, Newman?
We're told he was invited to the race, but had another commitment. He had to deliver the mail. Thank you, Barry Landis, our producer.
We're going back racing, and Travis Quapple, the 28, still sits on pit road, so he will go at least 1 lap down after being on the lead lap for 152 laps. We're hearing that splitter is broken on the 28 car, and that just kills the downforce on the car, so they have to repair that. He's going to leave pit road, but he will be a lap down. Let's crank it up, boys.
Winner Matt Kenseth.
Oh, it's just a matter of time till that 17 car reared his head. He was floating around there in the top 5. Cat's going for 3 in a row here. Jack Roush going for 4.
This will be the first lap that he has led in this race. On lap 10 last night, they had to pit for debris on the grill. When a lap down, got the free pass, and here he is taking the lead with 95 to go.
One thing I like about this car, I keep looking for things we like about this car. Whoa, I saw smoke. That was tire smoke out of the 24 car. It looks like they have to slow them down a good bit in the corner. That's making them allowing them to do some side-by-side racing. These cars seem to not be that upset when they're around each other. I know the guys say they drive kind of weird. You see the smoke coming out of the 3 cars up. That's not unusual. We see that out of the car a lot. It's tire smoke rubbing in the fender.
Especially right after a pit stop when the air pressure's down a little bit in the tires.
But these cars don't mind getting close to each other. They seem to be able to handle that all right.
Ryan Newman climbs the hill and gets in the wall.
Climbs the hill and hits the wall, exactly.
It's just dirty up there. Everybody.
Inside. Clear behind the 9.
Everybody
just roll the dirt up.
Yeah, everybody that gets up there.
That's 4.
Everybody that gets up there, it's just a little bit dirty when you get way, way high.
I don't think we can stress enough. These guys are running over 200 miles per hour getting off in the corner, and you're still in the 160s, high 160s in the middle of the corner.
.205 miles an hour into the corner and just up into the gray of the loose stuff that works its way to the top of the racetrack as these cars continue to circulate.
Mike just got a word from our
turn 2. Excuse me, Darrell. I thought David Gilliland was headed into the wall with a push, but everything straightened out all right. Sorry.
205 on the 12 car into turn 1 when he went up the hill. Maybe a little too fast. Should have braked. Maybe use a little brake.
First place race on the left, third place battle on the right of your screen. Jimmy Johnson back to the point.
You know, one of the things about our race cars, historically, those things are doing 200 miles an hour. Can you tell it?
No.
Can a guy at home tell it?
Probably not.
The only guy that can tell it is in the car.
Darryl, you talked about him a while ago, and I think he's about to rear his head because he's been coming. I think you said all he needed was some track position. Old cousin Carl in that 99 car, he goes by his teammate on the outside, Matt Kenseth. This is a battle for second. He's actually going to give him a little acknowledgement. Thank you. I'm faster than you right now, and we still got a lot of racing to go.
Well, I think with Carl, all he had to do is get this tuned her up a little bit, some fine-tuning, get that thing like he wanted it. He was giving good feedback. We heard that earlier.
Matt Kenseth likes to lead, but he doesn't mind finding a place to ride. He'll be there to race when it's time.
He's very happy right where he is. His problem was he started too far up near the front. He started fourth.
Right.
He's not used to that. He had to fall back to 25th and then work his way back.
Darryl, another thing about this new car, this car of today, look at Ryan Newman's machine. It'll take a licking and keep on ticking.
Our boy,
oh, I know.
that 18 Kyle Busch was all four wheels on the apron.
That's the weirdest line I've ever seen here.
If it's paved, he'll use it.
It's some that's not.
Right. Edwards is there. He is set to challenge Jimmy Johnson for the lead with 90 to go.
Oh, he said he's wondering if Jimmy's going to give him room, and Jimmy was wondering if he should drift up there or not.
Well, this isn't Atlanta, and it isn't the last lap, is it? They have a history, you know.
Yes, they do.
But he's working that high line. That's not a bad part of the high line there. You're about a lane off the top. You're not right against that wall.
Like Jason said, just be smart, be smooth, take care of your stuff from here on out. You're faster than everybody.
I love that. I love to hear you're pulling away.
Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, then Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, and Ryan Newman. I was saying, you can get into the wall with this car. It doesn't put the fenders in against the tires necessarily and force you to pit road. So Newman is able to continue, Matt.
Newman moving back toward the front. Now, Ryan Newman will tell you, Mike, that Wife Chrissy's Lucky Chocolate Chip Cookies helped fuel him to a Daytona 500 victory. She baked him a year ago at Dover, gave some to Martin Truex. He scored his first Cup win. Well, Newman wasn't taking any chances in Daytona. Saturday night, he sent Wife Chrissy over to Kevin Harvick's motorhome. A knock at the door. She said, I've got some drafting chips from Ryan. You won last year. He thinks he'll need some help. Well, at Madrid yesterday, she walked over to Harvick. She says, I need to apologize. They didn't work for you. He goes, that's okay. He goes, we finished 14th. If I didn't have them, I probably would have finished 30th. Thanks anyways, though.
One who she gave cookies to this week.
I don't know, but drivers are not superstitious.
Oh, no.
No, they just got weird habits.
I can see those signature line of cookies at the track bar starting next week.
Yes.
NASCAR on Fox rolls on.
Tell you what, a guy that loves that racetrack at Bristol, Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, he is all over the rear bumper. His teammate, Jimmy Johnson, in the 48, that's a battle for second.
Got a slow car down the back. I believe that's Dale Jarrett.
The caution is out for debris down in turn one.
Something happened to Dale down there. He just almost stopped. I don't know if he had a tire go down or what, but he almost, I looked up and he was just coasting along.
There's a tire tread.
Here, yeah, here you see right
and
rear.
Here it comes.
Right rear.
Yep.
That would definitely be a very huge piece of debris.
That is the 10th caution flag of this race and the third one since we restarted this race today.
Looked like Dale's been into the wall, and you can see now he's just riding on the inner line.
Bonnie gets the free pass, so he'll be back on the lead lap.
Well, you run this race backwards when you're thinking about fuel mileage. It's a 250-lap race. If you can run 40 laps, you know if you get to pit road by lap 210, that you can make it to the distance. If you get there by lap 170, you can do it on one more stop. And guess what, Krista? We're coming to lap 169.
And here comes our leader, Carl Edwards. He got on the radio and said, come on, guys, that last one was competitive. Let's do it again. The long weekend is what it's all about for these pit crew guys. A 4-tire stop for Carl Edwards. Dick Berggren.
Well, Matt Kenseth has struggled with a loose race car since this event began. He just said on the radio the car is worse than it has been since it started, so a major change. They have pulled the spring rubber out of the right rear. Matt.
Jeff Gordon hits pit road in the 3rd position. Now his issues have migrated from being too loose. Now it's just way too tight in the center. Steve Letarte is going to try to fix it with air pressure, Steve.
Casey Kane in the 9 saying this is the best the car has been. A track bar adjusted for him. Jimmy Johnson says, I need a little bit of help back. They're going to undo a little bit of the change they made last time. Mike.
And they took a lot of time getting Jimmy Johnson off pit road. He slipped to 8.
All day, baby, all day.
And here it waves. We restart with 79 laps to go in California. Jeff Gordon out front of Carl Edwards. Jimmy Johnson restarts in 8th position. He was leading coming into the pits, but they had a long stop, 18 seconds.
You know, they got a lot of new guys on that crew. A couple of new tire changers, new jack man, so they may be going through a few growing pains.
Let's have a look at Jimmy Johnson's stop, Larry.
Now look at the right rear tire changer. That's Jeremy West back there. You can see they go on with the tire. Now watch the NASCAR official. What he's doing, he's telling the crew, telling Chad Canals that there were lug nuts not on, and then he gave the thumbs up. But that little bit of bobble right there cost them several spots. It doesn't take much now to cost you a lot on pit road.
Especially when Carl Edwards is trying, or rather Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards trying to drive away from the field.
I think we'll see what we've been talking about, man. He's going to make up some time here in a hurry. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. I think you'll see what we're talking about, Jeff Gordon. He's back out front. Larry, let's see how he does here out front in clean air, because that car seemed to be good there last night when he was in the front.
What did he call it? He called it a rocket ship.
A rocket last night. But I think he's got another one behind him is the problem.
Going to be really anxious to watch that 17 car. That's a pretty major adjustment on Matt Kenseth that Chip Bolin, the crew chief, made, yanking that rubber out of the right rear. That's supposed to tighten the car up, but sometimes, and this car works a little different, it can lower the right rear car in the corner and actually hurt the car. So we'll be anxious to see what that change did for it.
That 24 is a rocket. That 99 is a heat-seeking missile, I'm telling you.
And they're running two completely different lines, especially in 3 and 4. The 24 was close to the bottom. Carl Edwards in the 99, about 2/3 of the way up the racetrack.
Yeah, and that sucking noise that Jeff Gordon hears is that 99 sucking up to his back bumper. I like Carl's line. Nice high arc into the middle of the corner. Up high where it is nice, and there's a lot of grip up high off turn 2. You got to have a really, really good car to get off of that corner on the bottom like Jeff was earlier, but it looks like he's lost a little of that off of turn 2 now.
Looking back in the pack, Darrell, I mean, there's so much side-by-side here as Jimmy Johnson pulls up on Martin Truex. This is for 6th place.
Just like we mentioned, Jimmy Johnson knows that this race is winding down. We're getting close to 75 laps to go, and Steve, they can't mess around a long time.
No, they can't. And let me underscore Carl Edwards in the 99, Larry Mack. This morning I was talking to Chad Canals. Carl Edwards walked up. Chad Canals said, Carl, you're going to be good once this track gets loose. Carl said, yeah, I think I will. Good luck. As he walks away, Jimmy Johnson walks up, and Jimmy said, Chad, what was Carl talking about? Chad said, he said you didn't have anything for him.
That's what you got to, that's motivation for a driver. You gotta pit your driver against the other guy.
Jeff Burton and David Gilliland racing for 16th place had a close encounter of the Fontana kind.
Woo, 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 woo. Kind of interesting to me that Jeff Burton was high riding here until he smacked that fence. Now he looks like a bottom feeder. So I ain't getting back up there no more.
You know, when you look at David Gilliland there, the 38 car, this is absolutely a home game for him. He was born and raised in nearby Riverside, California, now living in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
I love Riverside. Goodness gracious, when you talk about San Bernardino County and racetracks in this area, I loved Riverside.
Well, Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car continues to march towards the front. This is a battle for 5th with Casey Kane in that 9 Budweiser car.
I raced at Riverside 2 years, Larry, before I found out it was paved.
You stayed off-road a little bit.
But you could do it there. That's what made it so much fun.
9-turn road race course. Scene of a lot of great NASCAR battles.
Well, we used to open our season there.
Right, January.
Back in the day.
think Dan Gurney won that June race 4 years in a row.
121.
Yep.
Wasn't that the number?
Yeah, second Wood Brothers car.
Yeah.
As another California driver, Jimmy Johnson, battles Kane, and he's not going to get 5th place. You know, the Roush cars, we've talked about Edwards and Kansas 2nd and 3rd. Dick Berggren, how about the Biff? He's now slid to 14th.
Well, last night, Biff was the guy to beat, Mike. He was running up front. The car was a little bit tight last night. But as the weather has changed, Biffle's car has gotten extremely loose. He just came on the radio after the last pit stop and said the car is as loose as it has been all day and all night. He can barely hang on. What a difference a day makes.
I tell you what, I've been watching this little battle right here. David Reagan in the 6 car. Now, remember, Roush Fenway, of the 15 races here, they've won 5 of these races. And David Reagan needs a good run. He made a mistake at Daytona last week, and he's trying to redeem himself just with a good, solid run and keep that car looking just that way for another 71 laps.
Actually, David Reagan needs a good year. You know, had a kind of rough year as a rookie last year. Everybody thinks this kid's got a lot of potential, me included, but he just needs to kind of get himself together, get his composure, and put some good finishes together. And I see a car slow off turn 4 headed to pit road.
It's Kyle Petty, I think, in the 45 car. We got a report that he was possibly leaking brake fluid. Now we got a battle for the lead. There goes Carl Edwards in that 99 again, working on Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Now, Carl likes to put a slide. You know, he's an old dirt racer. He might just put an old slide job on the 24 here. I think Jeff's smart enough to know he's a little bit better than I am.
Thanks to all of you who voted and continue to vote for what we should name the Gopher Cam. Like Chris Myers, Gopher Cam has the day off today, but Carl Edwards said, well, if you need a name, you can use Carl. If nobody else steps up, that's okay with me. And of course, Carl Spackler was the groundskeeper in Caddyshack. So Carl is one of the contenders. And if you'd like to name the Gopher, log on to foxsports.com, keyword Gopher Cam. What's the leading contending name right now?
Digger.
Digger,
yeah.
We still kind of like Deuce, and
yes,
we like Hilly. But
I'm pretty partial to Hilly. And I won't tell you why, but I'm pretty partial to Hilly.
And it's a shame Drano's taken by our cameraman, erstwhile cameraman, Michael Dranos, but that's okay too.
The lead on the battle on the left, that is a battle for the 4th position with Kyle Busch in the 18, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, that just went by Casey Kane in the 9.
Krista, how about our leader?
Well, he kind of is like a gopher today. One of the hardest working guys out there, that being Carl Edwards. And it was just a few laps ago, though, that he got on the radio to his spotter, Jason Hedleski, and said, Jason, can you check my right side? I think I may have kissed the wall. Jason said, no, it looks fine. But you guys were talking about that high arc he's taken. He even recognized and acknowledged he may have taken it too high.
Hey, Krista, he's got slight damage over the right rear tire, but it didn't hurt. It didn't even rub the letters off the tire.
Edwards has 6 top 6 finishes in 7 races here, 29th last February. So 6 out of 7 in the top 6. Kyle Petty's car is being pushed to the garage where he will join Casey Mears and Sam Hornish.
So we've got 40 of our starters still out there with only 68 laps to go.
You know, as we watch this race and these cars kind of rub the wall and keep on going, I can't wait to get to Darlington.
Or Bristol.
Yeah, or
wow.
well, Darlington, you know, the Darlington stripe, and this car's going to be like it was back in the day, just lean it up against the wall and gas it.
Well, we've had cars get Darlington stripes at Daytona and now at California and probably at Las Vegas and Atlanta before we get to Bristol.
I'd say you're right.
What, Kyle Busch in that green interstate car, he just will not go away on the high side of Jimmy Johnson.
There's one thing you know about him. He is tenacious. He's like a bulldog, man. He gets hold of you, breaks his leg and won't let go. I was telling you yesterday, it reminds me a lot of Earnhardt. You used to pass him, and as soon as you pass him, you say, now, why did I do that?
Reminds me a lot of Buddy Baker. Buddy Baker. The title of Buddy's autobiography, Flat Out and Half Turned Over.
Yeah.
That's Kyle Busch.
Well, and Jeff made the observation. It's kind of reminded us of Tim Richmond a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of wild and crazy, but could really have great car control. Always having fun.
Yeah, there was Sideways and Loose, and there was Tim Richmond.
But while these guys have been going at it, Casey Kane in the 9 car, you see him on the bottom of the racetrack. He's pulled right back into this battle.
That 9's pretty good today, boys. He's just hanging around there at the front. A little pit strategy. Never know what might happen.
Jimmy Johnson took over fourth a lap ago. Kyle Busch coming back after him, and now Casey Kane in that picture, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
That's what I used to always say. I said when you pass Earnhardt, you'd say, "Now why did I do that?" Because he would worry you to death.
He was not going to go away.
No, you pass him, you think, "I'm done with him," and no, you just got your hands full.
I'll tell you what, this battle will not quit with these three race cars. You're riding with Jimmy Johnson right now.
Kind of all over the place, which is kind of neat about this joint.
Plenty of room to race. They could probably line up here 5 wide at 190 miles an hour.
Yeah,
no reason they couldn't.
We don't get all that excited about 3 wide here. 5, maybe.
Looks kind of like the 10 freeway.
Yeah, that's what we'll see at the end of this race. They'll come across here at the start-finish line 5 wide and handsome.
64 laps to go.
Running at the end of 45 consecutive races.
Steve?
Mike, the 29 car, they've been adjusting on that for Kevin Harvick, and he's been asking for rear grip, and it gets a little better every time they stop.
I'm proud of Harv. I'm telling you something. I've listened to some of the interviews he's done the last little bit here. Kid is really, really matured as not only a driver, but as a great owner in the Craftsman Truck Series, in the Nationwide Series. I really like what he's doing, he and Delana.
And that's a lot to be said for a fellow who once had to sit out a race because he got parked by NASCAR for behavior.
I reckon he got the message.
Yep. Martin Truex running 8th, started 11th for DEI in his Chevrolet. And there's Tony the Tiger.
Is that smoke? Yeah.
Not from the car. No. That's Tony. Here's Dick.
Yeah, Tony started this race in 6th position, Mike, and last night he really struggled with the car. Wasn't happy with it anywhere, said the car was just not right. Got into the race today, and they've adjusted on the car, and periodically he'll pick up another spot. So now he's in the 9th position, looking to gain a few more. Stewart is very, very good at this racetrack, and the team knows exactly what to do to get that car right. We've still got enough time for Tony Stewart to be a factor.
And I think it was either Matt or Krista reported yesterday or last night. Of all the races he's won, he's never won a race in the month of February. Just as we always know, he comes on about mid part of the season.
What I like about this track, Mike, it's kind of like a customized track. For whatever driver preference, whatever that driver has, you can adjust the car for him. If he wants to run her up against the rail, fine. If he wants to run around the bottom, be a bottom feeder, fine. There's a lot of things here that you can do to accommodate the driver, where if a track you just got one groove, you can't.
Brian Newman led 3 laps today. That was about 40 laps ago for the Daytona 500 winner, and now Juan Pablo Montoya is tracking him down.
And we have not talked about Juan Pablo Montoya in this 42 car. They were so bad at the test out here back in late January. They brought a totally different race car back than what they tested here, either here or Las Vegas, and it's paying off because right now he started 21st, and he's trying to crack the top 10. Remember, Ryan Newman about 30 laps ago smacked the wall off turn 2 with the right side.
Matt?
Mike, Donnie Wingle will tell you the biggest impact for this team has been the confidence this year in Juan Pablo Montoya, just learning this style of racing. He said last year Montoya wanted his cars just so tight, but they paid the price later in the run. He's more comfortable. He likes a much looser race car. That's what he's had most of today. It's now a little bit on the tight side as he's trying to get this team in contention to score his second 24-hour win of 2008. Remember, he won the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
Yeah, but Matt, that was a consecutive 24 hours.
But I get the message. I know what he's saying there.
Good point. Jeff Burton in 12th, and then Brian Vickers, who was one of Toyota's standard bearers last year, driving the Red Bull car. Vickers in 13th position right now, and he's running about half a lap off the lead, about 22 seconds back, but he's been a lead lap car just about all day.
But I tell you, while we've been documenting these guys, old cousin Carl in that 99 car, he is picking them up, laying them down. He's beating Jeff Gordon right now about 0.2 of a second a lap. He's moved out to about a 4.5-second lead, and we're about 15 laps away from what might be that final trip to pit road.
Carl's holding a pretty wheel right now, boys, and he's taking her in high and cutting her through the center and coming off fast.
Ooh, Jimmy Johnson flashes past Matt Kenseth. That's for third place, but it looks as if, like Kenseth, maybe just let him go.
Go ahead.
Where Carl Edwards is trying to give Jack Roush and Roush Fenway Racing their 4th straight win here at this 2-mile oval in the spring race.
Well, Carl's got the front, and Matt sitting back here in 4th place got his back. So I think they're in pretty good shape for Roush to do pretty well.
Goes by Dario Franchitti in the 40 car. Puts Dario 2 laps down back into 32nd position. But, you know, we talked last night. When this new car first came about last spring, in fact, the first race was at Bristol, Roush Fenway Group, they were quite a bit behind. And I think finally about midway through the summer, they realized it. They put a huge testing plan into place. Carl Edwards said, look, you need testing with this car? Pick me, I'll do it. He did a lot of testing with this group, and I think we started seeing the fruits of the labor of testing that new car in the latter part of the season with that Roush Fenway Group.
Well, definitely with Matt Kenseth and Carl both. But, I mean, Matt, he got more points in the chase than anybody.
Yeah, 5 consecutive top 5 finishes for Matt Kenseth the last 5 races, including the win at Homestead.
There's a look at Kenseth. Now, he's in 4th, 9.3 seconds off the lead, and that's still well within striking distance should we have another caution here in the remaining 47 laps. We know we will have at least one more pit stop.
It's like the...
And that pit stop should be coming here, I would say, within the next 5 to 8 laps.
And then we go to Vegas. Next Sunday on Fox, NASCAR Sprint Cup racing from Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Sorry if what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as long as we ain't a part of it.
As long as we aren't staying in Vegas till Monday.
Stay in Vegas like we did here.
But I was out there for that test, and she's a half-mile shorter than this racetrack, but she is some more fast.
Now, we talked about needing one more pit stop, and let's see how close the calculation's going. Steve Burns.
Mike, apparently it's very close. Todd Farrier, the crew chief on the 29 for Happy Hardwick, said, start thinking about saving fuel. We're going to be real close after this stop.
The Childress cars, Larry, maybe haven't been the best in class at fuel mileage over the last year or so in these unrestricted races.
They really haven't, but you know, they tend to go a little conservative. You know, they're not going to push the issues with the engine with things like leaning the thing out. And I think we're seeing, guess who hit pit road first this time?
I'm not running out of gas again. Kurt Busch. Yep.
He's not going to chance it this time, guys. He just got on the radio a few laps ago and said he was not happy with his car and it was pushing. They're going to make a track bar and air pressure adjustment for the deuce.
Well, now 43 laps for him to go, Larry, on this tank, and here comes his brother.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, he brought that thing on pit road.
Woo! Now, Kurt Busch did not go that far earlier when he ran out, but remember, we had the warming the engine up, so that's the one variable, Matt.
And we talked about it at the top of the show today. Weather is going to be the thing that everyone's going to be chasing, and that's what the 18 team is chasing. They've lost grip. They've lost the nose. They've lost the rear of the car. Steve Addington, another chassis adjustment. The car is way too tight in the center, and then it's way too loose on exit. It's just killing him, he says. Meanwhile, as he's down and away, the 07, Clint Boyer on his way down pit road. What a difference a day makes. Last night, the car was super fast. Today, he has just been super loose. Chassis adjustments across the back. You can already see the wedge wrenches in the back window. Double adjustments as they come around to the left side. Let's go further up pit road to Dick Bergman.
And Tony Stewart is marching his way down pit road, has never won here at the Auto Club Speedway, comes to the attention of his crew, and this is one of the best crews in all of Sprint Cup racing. Very few changes from year to year. These guys are all used to working with each other. To Matt.
Roy McCauley trying to get his driver back-to-back wins. Huge tear-off off the front windshield, but they left a small corner of it on and ripped. McCauley trying to fix the snappy loose condition of this 12 Dodge by air pressure change across the back, going down a pound, both rear tires.
Dave Blaney, Elliott Sadler in. Jeff Burton coming to pit road as green flag stops continue. Brian Vickers heads for pit lane.
Say, those cars that hit pit road back at lap 206, Darrell, like Kurt and Kyle Busch, and then Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, going to be close on them making it to the end.
Let me tell you what I saw, though. I saw that 18 car. I bet he made up 5 seconds on everybody coming to pit road. He came off the racetrack. I thought he was wrecked. And he got it woed up, and he got on pit road. And I think it's really, really going to show up here in a bit when he stops all cycle through.
Paul Menard and Mark Martin are in. So's J.J. Yaley. And here come the leaders. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth, Martin Truex on pit road. Matt?
Gordon will have a clear entry as Jeff Burton's car has already been serviced. He was fighting a grip issue, and Gordon says as he slides to a stop, his car, the biggest issue he had against the 99 of Edwards. He was getting killed off the corner way too free, didn't know what to tell Steve Letarte to try to fix their car. They should be close for good upfield, Steve.
Jimmy Johnson saying his car has gotten really tight in the center. Crew Chief Chad Canals telling gas man Rich Gutierrez, get it full. Krista.
4 tires, a drink, and a tear-off. That's the call from Bob Osborne for his driver, Carl Edwards. Just a slight air pressure adjustment, the same adjustment they've been making all day.
Kevin Harvick comes in. He would have been the leader, but he peels off to hit pit road. Steve?
Mike, this team led by Todd Farrier has been improving on that number 29 Chevrolet for Kevin Harvick all race. 4 tires, the order of the day on this stop, which could be the last stop if this race stays green. He's asked for more rear grip, and they've given it to him.
Now, what's interesting about Carl Edwards in the 99 car, his strategy was the fact that he ran longer almost than anyone. Why? Because he could, because he had over a 6-second lead. Let those other guys make their stop, and then I'll make mine.
Kevin Harvick did lead that lap. First time he has led today. And Reed Sorensen will get a penalty for being too fast entering. Remember that Reed was 10 laps down because of crash damage sustained last evening, shortly after we started this race.
Now, Bobby Labonte is a car that has not pitted, and you can see how much faster and better that fresh tires are. Bobby Labonte right now is back on the lead lap, trying to stay out there to catch a caution. That way he would be on the lead lap, but he should have to come to pit road here very shortly.
We cycled through pit stops with Carl Edwards back in the lead.
I'm just watching to see how those pit stops are going to play out. And Kyle Busch did pick up a good bit of time. He came out ahead of Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon just got by him. So he's running in 4th place, and he made up a ton of time. I wanted to see how it shook out getting on the pit road.
John Andretti came down pit road and made the hard left turn into the garage area, where he will join Casey Mears and Sam Hornish. Matt?
Mike, Kyle Busch was one of the first leaders that hit pit road for this run of stops. A lap ago, he came on the radio and asked Steve Addington, can we make it on fuel? Addington said negative. We are around 5 laps short. A long pause, then Busch said, can anybody else make it? Addington says, I don't think so, but I'm sure some will try.
I just believe some of those cars that pitted near the end of that cycle, I think they can make it, especially like Carl Edwards in the 99.
There's no doubt he can make it.
Battle for 5th here between Matt Kenseth in the 17, Casey Kane in the 9 car. We got 38 laps to go.
Well, now's when you find out how good if you've been holding back anything, now's when you use it, because the race is winding down and you got to go now.
And again, we talked about Carl Edwards pitting well out beyond from anyone else. Yeah, he gave up part of his lead, but that means he's got just that little bit fresher tires than those guys. Right now, Jeff Gordon's about 3 seconds behind him in the 24 car.
Yeah, he was 5 seconds up on the 2nd place when they started these pit stops, but when you got that kind of lead, you can dictate what you want to do yourself.
And had he caught a caution, he had about everybody a lap down.
Big trouble.
Coming in here, number of folks thought, and some wrote, that the Roush advantage at California Speedway would be negated by the change to the Car of Today platform, because the Roush team was behind in their development on that platform. They didn't come up to speed quite as quickly as the Hendrick camp, but here's Roush Fenway Racing dominating here once again.
The car has changed, but the cat shaking the wheel didn't, right?
I know I say this a lot, but that car doesn't have any idea where it is. And so I give a lot of credit to the teams and the drivers for getting the car to do what it's supposed to do wherever it goes.
Roush has 5 Cup wins here, 1 less than Hendrick Motorsports, 6 wins in what is now the Nationwide Series, and 2 Truck Series wins, total of 13 wins in 42 races.
Pretty stout record. Greg Biffle right now in the 16 car, again, he's not had the handle on this racetrack like he did last night, right now back in the 16th position.
35 laps to go. Dick Berggren.
Well, this race so often comes down to a fuel mileage contest, Mike, so I've been walking up and down pit road to see how folks are going to do. And I went to Matt Penz's crew chief, Chip Bolin, asked him if he could make it to the end. He put his 2 hands together as if he was praying. So they're not sure. Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief, shook his head no. They're going to need to make another pit stop.
Well, the 20 car pitted with basically 43 laps to go. Matt Kenseth, Chip Bolin in the 17 pitted with 41 to go. I just believe if you're right there on that 40 to 41 lap window, you should be able to make it. And let's face it, Carl Edwards is in a position where he can save a little fuel. Just roll out a little early. Keep those butterflies closed.
He might be doing that, Larry, because Jeff Gordon has closed up a little bit here in the last couple of laps. Carl had a little over 3-second lead. Now it's 2.8. So Jeff Gordon is definitely up on the wheel right now.
Car on pit road, and this will be Dale Jr. We have reached the point in the race at which he cannot improve his position. He's 41 laps behind. There are 34 laps to go. So I'm not sure if he's coming in for a splash or if he's coming in.
4 tires, guys.
Yeah, he is. Gonna run it out.
I just do not see teams parking cars anymore. I think they will try to run until the checkered flag.
And that's fine, Larry, but I mean, he's locked in. He cannot gain a position.
No, but that car has run very, very well since they fixed it and put it back out on the racetrack.
And what did they say? They're using this as a little test session.
I think it's not a bad idea.
Good point. Carl Edwards is wearing them out. As was expected. He's the strongest car here. He's lapping at under 41.5 seconds. Not the quickest car on the racetrack, but one of the top 5. And he has one of the quickest laps of the race, if not the quickest.
Those first 4 or 5 cars match lap speeds pretty close right now. 41.7s and 8s, pretty much across the board.
I think the biggest thing they'll do with Carl Edwards in the 99 is just keep him posted on where Jeff Gordon, where Jimmy Johnson, where Kyle Busch is at, and just maintain that lead. There's no need in trying to stretch it out. It'll do you no good right now.
Well,
Save some fuel.
I used to run track back in the day, and you know, you always want to have a little kick left. And so he needs to save a little wee bit just in case Jeff Gordon is saving a little wee bit.
And this race has that long green flag look to it. The last caution flag ended at lap 171. That was 40 laps ago, and we have 31 to run. And no more of the 3 and 4 wide racing that we saw in the midsection of this event in the middle of the pack. Things are a little bit strung out. So each driver has a little bit of a comfort zone to work with.
You know what I like about what we're seeing is we've had 15 different leaders and 30 lead changes. Jeff Gordon dominated last night, and now Carl Edwards is dominating.
Got a car in the wall in 4.
Mayfield, I believe, Jeremy Mayfield, has caught the wall.
Didn't get it hard, but got into it enough to bring out a caution.
Now you wad that fuel strategy piece of paper up. Now you go to your pit crew.
I think I was a caution there. They decided to sit in.
And say, boys, if you're going to have a good one, this is the one we got to have right here.
Well, it was a good story for a while. We'll wad up that piece of paper and we'll start writing a new one.
Always feel sorry for Larry. He has burned up a calculator and 4 pencils over
I'm always prepared,
figuring out the gas mileage, and I always tell Larry it ain't going to happen that way.
Yeah, but fellows like Greg Zipadelli will be very happy to see this caution because they were one of the teams that could not go the distance on fuel. Now, Mayfield brings out the caution. His teammate, Scott Riggs, will be the recipient of the free pass.
Now, here's my fear, and you know this like I do. We got a caution. We get double line restarts, and this is when sometimes mayhem breaks out. Got people trying to get back on the lead lap, get the lucky dog. Got people trying to get up there to win the race. It gets a little bit touchy here at the end of the race.
One of your favorite sayings.
Cautions breed cautions.
Got 21 cars on the lead lap right now, and we actually have 5 cars that are 1 lap down that'll be fighting to be that first car lap down.
Look at the headroom these guys got in this new car, Larry. Amazing.
How many tires do you get here?
There's no question. You got to get 4.
I'd get 6 if I could.
4 and put 1 in the trunk.
Get me an extra one.
All right, the leader comes to pit road in front of Krista.
For Carl Edwards, they're going to use exactly what got him this far, the exact same air pressure adjustment they've been making all day. Carl said he's just a little bit loose. Overall, very good. And, of course, those 4 tires. Dick?
Matt Kenseth just came on the radio and said to his crew chief, Chip Bolin, I know I've been asking for this all week, but can you make me a little tighter on entry? He stopped the car absolutely perfectly on his marks, Matt.
Jeff Gordon says they're about 1 adjustment away, another tear-off, chassis adjustments across the back. Gordon says I still need tremendous help on drive-off, and we're going to get the 99. Steve?
Matt, Jimmy Johnson says his number 48 has gotten loose coming off the corners. They've made an adjustment in the left rear. He's off pit road.
And Carl Edwards came in first, is not going to go out first. Jamie McMurray took 2, and he'll beat him out along with Gordon and Johnson.
Yeah, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, and Brian Bickers looking at pit road. Those teams elected to go with 2 tires here with about 25, 26 laps to go.
The 99's at the first pit box. The 24's in the first pit box going out. You see who won the race.
Jamie McMurray, who got 2 tires, then Carl Edwards, then Mark Martin and Brian Vickers, who each got 2 tires, then Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex.
Watching Casey Kane here, and I just flashed back to Daytona last week, and remember how he was working the wheel all the time? I mean, he was juking on the wheel. He just was very uncomfortable in the car. Look at him here. I know we're not going fast, but that's how he's been driving all day long. This car really is working well for him.
We've talked about crew chiefs being analysts, and we've talked about them being cheerleaders. Here's an example.
Like 8 on this restart that's going to come with 26 laps to go.
Well, I hold my breath right here for a few laps. Get these things strung out a little bit.
2 Hendrick Chevys, 2 Roush Fords, a DEI Chevy, a Red Bull Toyota, a Roush Ford, a Gibbs Toyota. Here we go. 26 laps to go, green flag.
Remember that 26 car, they have 2 tires. Jamie McMurray, the car that's in 3rd right there.
I think that'll get him ahead of some of the people he was racing with, because he and Mark Martin both were way back in the field, about 18th and 19th.
For the lead.
This will help them.
Jeff Gordon.
Side by side down the back straightaway, and you see back there 3 wide. Carl Edwards on the outside of McMurray, but this is the battle for the lead off into turn 3.
For this to be Jeff Gordon's drive for 5 and win a 5th championship, the toughest car he's going to have to beat is the one he's racing right now, his protege and teammate, Jimmy Johnson.
And Carl Edwards will love this because he just cleared the lap down cars. He's going to say, guys, you just keep going side by side. I will reel you in.
The thing I love about these 2 guys is the amount of respect they have for each other. They're on the same teams. We saw them race each other hard last year, and Jeff was such a gracious loser to Jimmy Johnson for the chase. But I don't think there's a race car out there, Larry, that when it comes crunch time at that 48 doesn't always seem to be able to step up a notch.
Johnson the leader, Edwards the fastest car on the racetrack, but does he have enough time to catch Jimmy Johnson?
I'd say nip tuck. He's got a nip, and then he's got a tuck.
And right now, Jimmy Johnson just beat Carl Edwards by almost 3/10 of a second that lap. And Jimmy Johnson, he is letting her hang out using every bit of this racetrack.
Well, I believe this is probably Carl's worst-case scenario. His car's good on the long run, and we don't have a real long run to work with here.
23 laps to go, but when you look at those front 2 cars, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, the 24 Jeff Gordon, you talked about them battling for the championship. Between those 2 cars, 16 of the 36 wins in 2007 by those 2.
Kyle Busch jumped to 8th last lap. He jumped to 6th this lap, and look at the melee back there.
All those cars are lead lap cars with the exception of Bill Elliott in the 21 and Michael Waltrip in the 55.
Here comes Busch. Sadler, the 19, a lap down.
This has that Atlanta look. Remember that Atlanta race when Carl chased down Jimmy and got him on the last lap? Setting up a lot like that.
Then later in the season, Jimmy returned the favor.
Carl just can't let these guys get too far away.
The top 3 cars just run within 2/100ths of a second of each other on that lap with 22 to go.
And that won't get it for
no
Carl Edwards. He is behind by 1.6 seconds.
But yeah, he's got two obstacles right now, the stopwatch and a 24 car between him and that 48.
Still got time, though, Larry. These tires fall off pretty quickly, and that's when Carl's car seemed to have been at the best. You see all three of them coming off the corner here, pretty well equally spaced at this point. I think you'll see Carl start to close up on the back of Jeff here pretty quick.
Now Matt Kenseth is fourth, Kyle Busch fifth, Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, Martin Truex. 4 wide.
Carl's a
I don't know
little
why I
bit
get excited about that. It happens all the time, but
yeah.
that pack, as David Reagan makes a move, woo, in that 6 car and slices to the bottom.
You can see that Carl is starting to catch Jeff Gordon here by a little wee bit, but Jimmy Johnson is pulling away from both these 24 into 99.
Yeah, Carl was quite a bit quicker. He seems to really be able to get down into 3 and 4 in the middle. Boom, right there, and really is able to pick the throttle and take that momentum on the high side.
Kyle Busch against last year's winner, Matt Kenseth, for 4th place. Got him.
Now, Kyle's car looks pretty good now. The last adjustment they made here makes it look like it's sticking a little better than it has all day.
But what this race has come down to is what the entire 2007 season came down to for Jimmy Johnson. Who can make their car the best at the end of the race? That 48 team.
They did it 10 times last year.
And this year, it's not about this car versus the old car. This is about being better than the competition, and that's what we've got today.
And you know the unique thing Chad Knaus told me earlier in the week, he said, Larry, because we were so focused on the championship last year at the end of the season, we didn't race this car at this type of racetrack. We're behind with this race car. Good Lord, if they ever get caught up.
Well, that's the thing about them. They can catch up in a hurry.
Carl Edwards is closing on Jeff Gordon.
It's a battle for 9th right there between Mark Martin in the 8, Tony Stewart in the 20, as well as Brian Vickers in the 83. Mark Martin and Brian Vickers, they only went with 2 tires on that last stop. Tony Stewart with 4.
I think it might move them up a little bit, Larry, because I think Mark was running 19th when they made the 2-tire change. So it might pick him up a little bit.
There will be 18 laps to go when they get to the start-finish line. So Carl Edwards cannot afford to wait around passing Jeff Gordon.
You know, well, look at Jeff Gordon. Jeff really just pulled down out of his way. I'm surprised. Didn't try to hold him up much.
But that lap right there, even with Carl battling Jeff Gordon, he still beat Jimmy Johnson by well over a 1/10 of a second. We'll have 17 to go when they get back to the line.
He's got him in sight. Now, once you see that car in front of you and you're Carl Edwards, that makes all the difference in the world. I got him now, boys. If I can just get my hook set, I'm going to reel him in.
Jimmy Johnson still running the low line like Jeff Gordon. Carl Edwards moving that thing upstairs about a lane off the top of the racetrack.
He's going to close up big time this lap.
Good job, bud. Keep doing what you're doing. Nice and smooth now.
Yep.
32 to his 48.
Got him.
Just a matter of time. 17 laps to go. And that time by, Carl Edwards was a 1/10 and a half faster.
Forget about your beer, just you and him.
Jimmy Johnson trying to win his 5th Sprint Cup race out of the last 7.
Now Johnson just moved up to the Carl Edwards lane. Let's see if it helps him any. Carl's had a lot of steam up high.
That's a battle for 11th right there. Casey Kane in the 9, Ryan Newman in the 12. Those 2 cars, they put 4 tires on versus Mark Martin and Vickers.
Yeah, and you can see Mark, he has got his hands full.
I tell you what, Carl Edwards, he's reeling him in right now. If he keeps going like he's going, he's probably going to catch him in about 3 to 4 laps. He beat him over 0.2 of a second that lap.
Steve?
Like Jimmy Johnson just said, I'm burning the right rear off this thing.
Oh, I thought that smoke was coming off the steering wheel, Steve.
We're looking back at Carl Edwards right there from Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Carl's just, I mean, he's been too good all day long not to be able to chase these guys down, and particularly if it stays green and they get this long run here in.
As Carl closes in, let's show you today's Sprint Mobile Monster Moment. The race changed in an instant. With NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, follow the race instantly.
Go. Yeah.
That pit stop gave Jimmy Johnson the lead. The question now, can he hold it?
going to go downstairs, down to the white line. They're going to be side by side off turn 4, 14 to go this time at the line.
Well, I told you, Jimmy moved up into Carl's lane. Carl said, I'll just take your lane. Thank you very much. That car is that good right now. He can go where he wants to.
I have no idea who led that lap right there. Looks like Jimmy Johnson did by 3/1000ths of a second.
And there he goes. He'll put the slide job on him off of 2 over there, right up in front of him.
Barely.
Got him.
You're clear.
Jimmy's going to fight back to the inside, but I think it's all in vain.
Come back inside.
Oh, we've seen this movie before several times in Atlanta.
Watch Carl go around the outside here, though. Right in there, he just really gets a heck of a run off the corner.
Side by side for the lead. With 13 laps to go, Chevy versus Ford.
Now, remember Texas, Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth had a side-by-side duel, and we thought that Kenseth was going to be able to hold him off. Jimmy didn't give up.
And for the people that say all these guys do is points race, I want you to watch what's going on right here, because the difference right there is 15 points between finishing first and second. You can see how loose that 48 car is getting.
Stay smooth, you'll leave them.
I think the way Jimmy Johnson looks at it, if I'm going to win 10 races again this year, I don't want to let any of them get away. Carl's just so dominant. And you know what? It just backs up everything we heard going into this race today. We heard from testing to practice.
Great job. Just stay smooth. You'll drive away from him. 41.85 is 42.39.
Everybody in the garage was saying Carl Edwards is the man to beat. Pretty well nailed that.
Jimmy Johnson now seeing Jeff Gordon closing in just a bit. We have a record for lead changes today. We've also had 11 cautions in this event, which ties the record.
Jamie McMurray, I think he just bounced off the...
Keep it up. Get gathered up. Good save.
Oh, he saved it.
12 laps to go.
And of course, that's Carl Edwards' teammate. Carl Edwards does not need his teammate to bring a caution out.
He didn't have two good tires, and he just ruined those.
Battling Casey Kane for the 9th position. How many times have we seen that today? He just got up there in that stuff and just got loose.
Come on, Wing. Save me, Wing. That's what you call winging it.
Straighten him right up. McMurray slides back to 13th, but continues with 11 laps now to go. Heavy traffic.
Play with that throttle.
Kurt Busch on the inside. You're watching back from Jeff Burton's car. There's Kurt.
The other thing I've noticed about this car, Larry, these guys, they juked that throttle a lot more than they did in the old car. The old car was either on or off. This baby, you got to play with that throttle.
Well, Jimmy Johnson gave it a battle, but Carl Edwards now leads by 1 second over Johnson and is driving away.
Pretty nice recovery from Daytona for the 24-48, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Kind of the way it went last year. You know, they both came out there in the hole. Didn't seem to affect them much.
Johnson would leave here 8th in points. Gordon 14th.
And the point leader would be?
Right now, it would be Kyle Busch in the 18 car. Carl Edwards didn't have a stellar Daytona 500. Finished mid-pack in 19th.
No, and he would leave here 5th in the standings. The way things run right now, with 10 laps to go.
Well, based on the way the Toyotas have been running in the Nationwide Series, Kyle Busch is going to do what I think we all said he might be able to do, and that's lead here with the point lead in all 3 series. That's going to be impressive. It's only the 2nd race of the year, but nonetheless, that's a big accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
Remember, Carl Edwards finished 2nd to Jimmy Johnson here last September as he goes for the win with 9 to go.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Mike. 7 starts here, 6 top 6 finishes.
You know, there's always been racetracks that seem to suit one make over another. Atlanta was a Ford racetrack. Charlotte was a Ford racetrack for a while. And this racetrack obviously has fallen into that category. Jack Roush, Fenway Group, they've obviously got this joint figured out.
Let's get a word from Krista on the race leader.
Well, Mike, if the folks that hung with us through yesterday's broadcast, you heard Carl say that he lost his motor coach this week. His motor coach was involved in an accident. He instead had to borrow the coach that was supposed to be used by the pre-race band ZZ Top. One of ZZ Top's hit songs, Sharp Dressed Man. Carl didn't even know if he'd have any clothes here. His fire suit, all of his clothes were on his coach. Today, it just doesn't matter what he's wearing. He is in top fashion.
Hey, Krista, today he is dressed for success, I can tell you.
Yes, he is. We've got 7 laps to go, and right now he has almost a 2-second lead over Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. Right now, I believe the 48 car, he mentioned it a while ago, he has burnt the right rear tire off that car, and Jeff Gordon in the 24 is reeling him in. When they get back to the line, there'll be 6 laps to go.
I think they'll probably be happy to finish right where they are. Get out of here, recover from Daytona. Again, we mentioned yesterday the other Jimmy Johnson that worked for Rick Hendrick. Again, I want to just pass along my condolences to his family. Jimmy was part of building Hendrick Motorsports into the dynasty it is today.
Tony Stewart has passed Kevin Harvick for 7th place, and we'll also mention the passing of longtime broadcast executive Tim Sullivan in Daytona Beach after a lengthy illness. That happened over this weekend. Tim headed up the teleprompter theater vision telecast of the Daytona 500, where you go watch it on closed circuit TV at the local movie house, and later was general manager of NASCAR's Motor Racing Network radio network.
And we have a memorial service tomorrow for my nephew, Jason. Tell Connie and Dave hello. Thinking about you, and be with you tomorrow.
Five to go at the Auto Club Speedway of Southern California, where Carl Edwards, one of his teammates, David Reagan, is sponsored by AAA. No roadside assistance needed today for that 99 team.
And Darrell, when I watch this 99 car, the car is turning and rotating through the middle so well. You can just see the nose pin. You can almost see the car yawed out a little bit.
Yeah.
The big fear of this race car was going to be it just wouldn't turn. The front end was not in the racetrack. You've already heard Jimmy Johnson talk about, I burnt the right rear up. Matt Kenseth was loose. It's like they've got these things turning pretty good right now.
Yeah, they do. And Larry, some of the teams that have got them working have been working on the front ends. The teams that don't have them working, they've been crutching these things up with big old right rear springs, and you can't race that way. You're going to burn the right rear off. You're going to have a loose race car. If your car's not working in the front, you don't go work on the rear.
There's your leader, Carl Edwards. A wave to Dale Jr. behind, and Kyle Petty, who moved over.
He's got that hand out the window every time he goes by somebody. Thanks, brother.
And yeoman's work by Jr. in the 88 and Denny Hamlin in the 11. Despite being crashed last night in the early laps of this race, they have toughed it out and gone the distance. Jr. 47 laps down, and Denny Hamlin 56 laps behind. They're going to finish 40th and 41st, but they're going to finish.
And give a call to Jimmy Elledge, the 41 car Reed Sorensen. Not the amount of damage that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Denny Hamlin had in that crash, but they went to the garage area. They're 10 laps down. Remember, finished in the top 5 in the Daytona 500. He's going to leave here, it looks like, probably finishing about 37th, Reed Sorensen.
We've seen time and time again, and the reason it's so critical is 5, 10 points can just make a huge difference in where you stay in the top 35, and that's a consideration.
And a big drop for Jr. in the points, as you saw there, down to 25th.
2 to go.
2 to go. All lap down cars right there, buddy. All multiple laps.
There's the hardware right there.
A Woody, a Southern California surf Woody. You got to love that.
Yeah, I tell you, and that's perfect for Carl. I can see Carl driving that baby.
You know, I was down at Ford Premier Group headquarters earlier in this week, and that's also the Ford West Coast Styling Studio. And for inspiration, what's in the lobby? 65 Mustang and 2 Ford Surf Woodies like the one on that trophy.
I believe I'd take this little hot rod right here and run her right in there alongside of them, because this has been a real performance today by Carl and Roush and the whole crowd. It's a good job, boys. Coming to the white flag, 1 to go.
That's Joe Nemechek, who will finish 34th today.
One more time around. Nice and smooth, bud. Last lap here.
Just tiptoe, baby, just tiptoe.
Yeah, with Clear and Nemechek, he's pretty much got smooth sailing, getting close to half a lap to go.
Don't let go of that wood. Don't wave at anybody. Just bring her home.
Looking for his 7th top 6 finish in 8 starts here in Southern California.
Got to spin.
Turn the wall.
The caution is out, so the field is frozen. The race is over right there because we're on the white flag lap.
Dale Jarrett's car rolls down from the banking.
Once you enter into the white flag lap and there's a caution, the race is
We
over.
won. Yellow came out after the white flag.
Checkered flag. Carl Edwards wins the Auto Club 500, his first victory at California Speedway, and the 11th victory here for Roush Racing. 6 in Sprint Cup, 6 in the Nationwide Series. And 2 motor oil. There's car owner Jack Roush, and here's Steve Burns.
And we just got a vitamin water bath. Carl, this morning, Chad Knaus on pit road even said it. You're going to be the guy to beat.
Well, it looked like Jimmy was the guy to beat at the end. That was a lot of fun racing with him. Just got to thank Bob and all my teammates for working so hard this winter and all of us working together. All my sponsors, Aflac, Claritin. I know a lot of people will be watching this on their Dish DVR tonight. Office Depot, for sure. Everybody, Vitamin Water. All my homies at Back 40 Records. It feels good to be in victory.
Kyle Busch. Wow, we got a battle on